Ladies and gentlemen, oh Mavity, for this is a Fred Delian Productions podcast.
Too much mavity.
The longest running
Mavity!
joke.
How many mavities did you count in this episode? You'll find out later.
Yeah, take a
Too
drink every
many.
time someone says Mavity.
Oh, I'm already drunk.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's cue the music, shall we?
I don't know what we're yelling about! We came, we saw, we kicked its ass!
Wait a minute. Doc. Are you telling me you built a time machine? Kind of a DeLorean?
The way I see it, if you're gonna build a time machine into a car, why not do it some style?
Who is this? What's your operating number?
Boring conversation anyway.
Luke, we're gonna have company! Loud noises!
Hello.
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 I'm a Kendall Richardson.
I'm a Fulya and Michael.
And I'm a fortnight late, Muggleister.
Yes, you are now experiencing a podcast called Fred.
Yes, experiencing it through the mediums of all three of us here, and we've watched a lot, so let's get down to it!
Yes,
yeah.
yes. No, we missed a week, so we've got to really just do this at double speed. So let's hit it.
Yeah, the way I listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Sacrilege. I can't.
No, I can't either. It's too much.
Too much. Although we probably recommend it for our listeners because
Yeah.
it'll save you a lot of time.
Yeah.
Probably, considering how long we talk.
And
Yeah.
how long this episode is likely to be. Fulya.
Yes.
Hello. What have you? Hi. What have you been watching this week?
Lots of things. Well, the usual things, I will say. I think the main things I've watched is Last of Us episodes 4 and 5. So the last two episodes, which of course then coincides with the making of The Last of Us for episodes 4 and 5. So I've watched those two. And I think the main big thing that I started watching in the last couple of weeks is MasterChef is back. Yes.
Nice.
I am back into the MasterChef grind, the binge. It is great fun. It is another back to win season, and a lot of contestants from previous seasons, a lot of contestants from the last year's season have come back to win. So there's actually more from last year's season than there are from any other season that have come back to win, which is really interesting. So they're literally giving them like a second chance to see how they go. I will also mention that there are 3 contestants that are back to win for a third time. So they've already been in the MasterChef kitchen twice before this, and now they've come back for a third season, for a third chance at winning, because all 3 of them have come runners up in the grand finale of whatever seasons they were in. So now this is like third time's a charm kind of a situation for them. And if they don't make it this time, then yeah, no more invites. But I will also mention the fact that they've actually gone on and like opened restaurants. They've worked in, the hospitality industry, doing all their stuff. And, they've accomplished a lot since they've been away from the MasterChef kitchen. So for them to, rake out the time to come back a third time is insane. It's crazy. So, kudos to them to try and prove themselves worthy of actually winning the title of MasterChef. The other thing I will also mention, there are a few contestants who have returned that, even though they've gone on to do things in the food industry, some of them actually aren't working in the kitchen per se, but they are working in like catering, or life happened and they had to step away from the kitchen for a little while. Some of them, I think one of the contestants ended up working as a judge on MasterChef Singapore, and now she's back to actually be in MasterChef Australia to see if she's worthy to keep going. We've got we've got some who have opened up multiple restaurants, so they're kind of on the business side of things rather than in the kitchen themselves. So these contestants have a lot to prove for for themselves, for everybody else around them, and it is just wholesome television watching these people cook and do their best and just have a great time and have the experience of a lifetime for them. So I'm really enjoying watching MasterChef Back to Win. It's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. That's all from Fulya?
That is all from me.
Lovely. Thank you. Mike, what have you been watching?
Yes, I also have been watching The Last of Us, episode 4 and 5, and I'm very much enjoying the retelling of the show. A bit, I think I like it more that I don't have to play through some stuff. That it's being mindful of what sort of medium it is, so they're sort of getting into like characters and backstories, which I do appreciate. So that's going to be fun. And the end of this season is going to be A1. It's going to end.
It's going to end, yes.
Next season.
Yeah.
And I'm much enjoying the relationship between Ellie and Dana. Okay. During, I think it was last week or this week, it's all a blur. I recently bit the bullet and I've subscribed to a Patreon for the first time, and it's
Ooh.
Auntie Donna.
No way.
Yeah, very interesting.
What kind of content do you get from their Patreon?
They get early access to their podcast, but I've been listening to their podcast ever since day one, so I'm an early bird for that. Yeah, bring back Frogman. That's all I can say. Also, they've since I think it was 3 years ago, they've been doing like Patreon video content as well. So that's been fun. They've done 2 series of their version of a Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm halfway through the first one, and that's pretty fun. And just Mark making the world. He's DM, and the other 2, including the head writer Sam Lingham as well. And they're just having fun, just skiving around and just making up stuff, and yeah, the typical comedy that they have, and it's matching well with the sort of D&D sort of stuff, because I like Critical Role, so I'm not that unfamiliar with D&D live content, so that's fun. But the main reason why I got it is because they released a Patreon only show that they did last year, was the Magical Dead Cat Tour, and yeah, it is what it is. Fulya, thank you.
I have no idea what that means, but okay.
Well, it's sort of a political term in a way, where if you want to change like the subject, you throw a dead cat on the table and people have to deal with it. Where it doesn't mean anything of the situation, but it's a magical dead cat tour. So that's a very interesting way that they did the sort of live show, and it's intermingled with stuff that they actually filmed as well. So that's a very interesting dynamic. It's not really a live show. It's part of like an overall like media sort of frenzy sort of stuff. So that's been good. So yeah, I've been doing that, dealing with that, as well as watching the stuff that I've been watching. I also would like to mention that after watching Andor, because Andor finished, I went straight into Rogue One.
I wanted to do that, but then I ran out of time.
Yeah, it's on my list.
Yeah. There's a much more appreciation to that film because I haven't seen it in years. I probably haven't seen it since the cinema. 10 years. Wow. And yeah, just it hits a lot different considering what we've been watching with Andor season 1 and 2. And I like the internet, and I like the internet's new name for Rogue One, which is Andor season 3, which just matches very well with the storylines, and just it's just amazing how they've intermingled like the actual retroactively made their storytelling like part of that movie as well, because it's very similar, even though it was like one of the first movies or pieces of media like outside of the main saga, like the 3 sagas. Skywalker saga, but yeah, the main 6. So. And yeah, I wanted to watch it because I wanted more Andor, and I got it, and now I don't know what to do with myself. Maybe watch New Hope, which I'm going to call Andor season 4,
which is fitting because it's episode 4.
Yeah. So that makes sense. So that's been a fun, and it's rekindled my love for Star Wars, because not to jump ahead because we're going to talk about it, but Andor is like the best Star Wars ever. So yeah, because I'm watching it as an adult and I'm sort of getting the stuff, so I'm not like the other stuff, like it's close to my heart because childhood and shit. But yeah, and I was just missing something from Star Wars, and it's that. I also went to the movies. I went to the movies yesterday.
What'd you see?
I had a date night with the wife, and we went to see Final Destination Bloodline.
No spoilers. I'm seeing it on Tuesday.
Well, the bad guy's death.
Damn it!
Yeah,
again. They've gone back to death again. I mean, fuck me.
Yeah, I won't spoil it.
Material.
But it's very well done. It fits in with the rest of the series, which I haven't seen in a while. But and yes, my wife is annoyed with me because I was just laughing throughout the because it's funny. Just over the top death is just funny to me. I don't. It's just the way I'm being programmed. I'm sorry. I'm a sick individual. I'm a sick puppy. It's not my fault. And yes, the last performance of Tony Todd, which is bittersweet, but I won't spoil where his cameo is, but it's very fitting, and I won't talk about it because I teared up a little bit at the end of his scene, so that's good, and I do appreciate how they sort of made a new what do you call it? A new dynamic when it comes to this, because it's usually formulaic, like people aren't supposed to be alive, and death comes for them in the way, and they've sort of made that because a family member isn't supposed to be supposed to be alive, so their lineage is not supposed to be alive. So I kind of like that dynamic and how they sort of tackled it within the film. Will there be more after this? Well, the reception is it's a pretty good film and people like it, but I don't know where they can go with it. I'm probably thinking if they were to do something else, they'd probably like do an in-between cool sort of thing, because it sort of sets itself up to where you can have one set in the 80s or 90s, and it'd be a period piece, and also add to it, and then you can sort of get around recasting Tony Todd, but don't know.
I don't think I would love if they had left him alone right now, I think. Yeah.
And they have a good little, I wouldn't say send off, but it actually fits well with his character, like throughout the entire franchise, and how they set him up as this sort of character that's all part of the entire thing. So I did like it. I really liked it for it, and horror is getting a bit of a bump. Like before this was Sinners, and me and my wife are very interested in watching Know What You Did Last Summer, because there was a trailer for that before that, so that was good. So that's basically it. What I've been watching for the fortnight. So what about you, Kendall? What have you been watching?
Yes, well, I've been watching a lot of stuff over the last couple of weeks, but I'm not going to talk about everything, because then we'll never get to the good stuff we want to discuss. But I will pick 3 things that I watched. And of course, we'll, like the both of you, start with The Last of Us. Yes, episodes 4 and 5. Shout out director Kate Herron, who helmed episode 4, Loki season 1 director. And for me personally, felt really cool because she's a queer creator, and she got to direct this episode that had elements of pride, and then of course Ellie and Dina getting together properly. That was just really cool. Really intense scene though, where like Dina's like sitting in the dark, fucking terrified out of her mind, waiting for Ellie to turn and all this. Oh my god, it was great. I really liked that episode. I liked episode 5 as well. It's heading in a really interesting direction. I like what they're setting up. I don't know anything that's going to happen now, so I like that, and I don't like that, because with season 1, I'd seen the playthrough of the game, so I knew what was coming. And I kind of liked the being able to compare, but here I'm not getting that opportunity, and I've done that purposefully. And I don't like the experience as much for some reason. I don't like not knowing what's gonna happen.
I
but
know
that's
exactly
okay.
how you feel.
Yeah, but that's okay. I knew the big thing that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, really good episode. I like seeing Ellie. She's kind of like, I saw a lot of posts on social media that were like father, like daughter, and she's like going into that dark, vengeful place that Joel has gone to. And seeing that is really crazy. And it was cool to see the introduction of spores. We should mention, like, this is the first time we've seen spores, because they're in the game, obviously, but they didn't adapt them in the first season. They made a deliberate choice not to, but then I think there might have been some feedback from the fans that they weren't too happy with that being left out.
I was a bit confused as to why they've left it until now to show the spores.
Yeah.
Might have been a creative choice, but
yeah, because they don't really seem to explain it, but then they kind of, I guess maybe it's just kind of self-explanatory, right? Like you're breathing it in, you're infected. So I guess they don't really need to.
Yeah, because in the game, you're always like, if you're going into an area where you think there's going to be infected, you put on the mask.
Yeah, you put the mask on.
Especially
Yeah,
when you're
but-
underground.
Yeah, like in
yes.
basements and stuff like that.
Enclosed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
enclosed areas.
So, but I will agree that in like this particular, the recent episode, season episode 5, I really kind of liked the set design for when Ellie did end up going into the basement, and it was just fungus everywhere.
Man, I remember I was watching that, and then as the camera is like panning as she's seeing it, and then you're just like, whoa, like
Yeah,
that's terrifying. And then just
It is.
seeing these human bodies that have been engulfed by the fungus and that are breathing out these spores.
Yeah.
Oh man.
one of which you
Yeah.
then go back to, the cold open of the episode.
Yeah, I love how they set that up. That was cool. And because
Yeah.
it's a lot of storytelling, like good storytelling is, I guess I don't know if it's show don't tell or whatever the expression is, but like just being able to have two actors do a one-on-one scene and you get the terror from them in their descriptions, right? You get it. You don't need to see it. But then like the fact that we then get to see, her son dead, effectively infected, is just kind of brings it full circle from the beginning of the episode and go, oh fuck, because like, I mean, we all knew that's what they were talking about, the same place. We knew that was going to happen, like when we're seasoned viewers. But I'm sure there are people out there watching going, oh, that was from the start of the episode. Oh, like, yeah, that's funny. But anyway, yeah, good stuff. I like it a lot. And then that Joel flash at the end was just fuck you, show.
Wow.
Well, this week's episode coming is going to be more of that, I think. So
we're
yep.
Not to spoil it, but what to spoil? I don't know myself. But I think they're setting up that next week's episode is going to be a soul time backwards.
It looks
jump
like it. Yeah, it looks like
where
it.
we're going to see Ellie finding out what Joel did and what he's going to do, because I have a theory on Eugene as well, and that sort of focuses on how they find out where Joel is. I think it's going to be part of that as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
I will say the Ellie and Dana sort of relationship is a lot different than it is in the game, because you notice, Kendall, they established their relationship very early on, before Joel died.
Yeah.
So, and I do like it where they put it here, and they changed it up a bit, because throughout the game they sort of they're in this relationship now, and then you sort of see it like get tested because of the pregnancy announcement, and yeah, I can't. I sort of got choked up when Ellie proclaimed, "I'm going to be a dad," and it's like, oh, welcome to the club. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Jesse's cool.
Yeah, Jesse, fucking Deus Ex Machina Jesse out of nowhere. I love it.
I was gonna say, like, he just rocked up, and I'm like, how do you survive?
Him and Tommy.
Dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not surprised that he rocked up, but yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense. Yeah. Let's hope Tommy's okay. I'm sure he is. They wouldn't do anything to him.
Did either of you like, obviously we all know that Joel died, but like, did either of you think for a second that from Ellie's point of view, did it look like Joel to you? when she was kind of out of it a bit, and it was very hard for her to see who it was that came to help him.
I think that was probably the intention, but
Yeah.
as
it was,
I
it
know
was.
prior knowledge
Yeah.
of what's happening.
No, I definitely got that vibe watching it, and like it felt the same. Like my brain, for some reason, my brain went to Joel saving Abby, in episode 2. You know,
The hand reach,
because
yeah.
the hand reach, it was the same move. So I was like, okay, yeah.
I
that's
know
where
that
my
broken
brain
watch.
went.
Yeah. Also, I knew something was gonna go awry in that particular scene. I'm just like, there is no way they're surviving this. Like, doesn't matter how immune Ellie can be, she can still be torn from limb to limb, you know? So
Yep. Yeah.
Instead.
Yeah. Me and the boyfriend looked at each other and we were like, how the fuck are they getting out of this? There's all these smart zombies.
Yeah,
Stalkers.
and then especially the second that those
Stalkers.
those
yes, thanks, Mike.
infected started to peel away the fencing where Dina was trying to
Ugh,
kind of keep herself safe. I was just like, she's done.
Ooh, clinch.
it's over. Yeah. That was good. Tension was good. Tension was really well done. It was both of those episodes were excellent viewing. Excellent viewing. Oh, and then more stuff with the Scar people and their fucked up execution methods.
Oh, I could not, like, the moment I saw that it was gonna happen, I'm like, nope, I'm not watching. I'm waiting, and then once I didn't hear any more screaming, no nose and whatnot from the guy, I'm like, look, see the guts.
And now he's
I'm
free.
like, okay, it's done. Yeah, apparently.
Now he can feel her love. Oh, how nice.
How deep is your love?
Alrighty. My second thing I want to mention quickly is I've started watching Poker Face.
From Stan. I've been meaning to watch that.
Yeah. I've only seen the first 2 episodes so far, and I'm really liking it. It is as good as everyone says it is. Like the pilot episode was fantastic. Like, just like I've always been a fan of Natasha Lyonne, like since American Pie. Like she's just got a presence, and she's very funny, and she gets to really kind of be fully herself here. Because like the last thing I watched her in was Orange is the New Black, and she was like her, but on fucking 500 coffees, because she was like kind of crazy in that show. But here she's just kind of like, she just gets to be cool and very funny, and I like all of her shirts. I want her I want her wardrobe. But yeah, it's great. It's awesome. Like it's what people say. It really feels like a old school plot of the week, mystery of the week kind of show, like a Columbo or whatever.
I kind of like the sound of this.
You would like it, Fulya. Like it's not okay. It's not more violent than you could handle. If you can handle Last of Us, you can definitely handle this. So you're fine.
So is it kind of like, from what I'm reading as for its like little plot, is it sort of similar to maybe Lie to Me, but she's doing more of the detective work kind of side of things?
I guess I never really saw Lie to Me, so I can't. I know of the show.
Yeah.
And the basic premise.
Right.
Of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, because she's like. She's not a cop. She's not a detective. She's literally just, she gets caught up in these situations. And she just happens to be like, the first one's directly connected to her. And it's fucking genius. 10 out of 10. That first episode, perfect pilot. And then the second one, she just happens to kind of be, at the location when the thing happens, and then she ends up figuring it out because she can tell who's telling the truth and who's lying.
So she's just got a real high level of attention to detail.
Yeah, I guess. Well, she doesn't.
And she's got the sort of the telltale signs of
It's
who's lying.
basically it's basically straight up. She's just like, I can tell when someone's lying. I just know.
yeah.
I just have a feeling.
So yeah, it is pretty much similar to Lie to Me, if that's the case.
Yeah.
I love that show. It was really
You
good.
will you got to watch Poker Face fully. I don't know if you have Stan.
I do have access to Stan, so I might have to add that to my watch list.
Yeah, and see, because season 2 just started airing, so
okay, that's good.
So I'm gonna
Something
try and
different.
get through season 1 and then jump on season 2. But yeah, it's really good. 10 out of 10 recommend people.
And also, it's penned by Ryan Johnson.
Yes, it's created by Ryan Johnson of the Knives Out and Glass Onion fame.
Ooh.
Yes, so there you go,
Yeah.
Fulya.
All right,
More
that's my
incentive.
And also the best Star Wars in the sequel trilogy. Come at me.
Yeah. No, you're not. It's not perfect, but it's definitely it does some things a lot better than the
When
other
has a
ones.
Star Wars ever been perfect?
Andor.
These episodes are long.
Yeah, hour-long episodes, but they don't drag. They're paced very well.
That's good.
You're really living in the episode and what's happening to the characters.
Oh, airs every Thursday 9 p.m. our time.
Yeah,
nice.
Check it out.
I'm looking for.
Hey,
Kendall, you are like recommending things, and I'm just like going straight into them, and I just go like, "Yep, this is definitely a me show."
You should make a podcast of recommend to me.
Recommend to me. It should be a new segment.
Yeah, maybe we should resurrect the monthly and
I'm right.
And it's just me recommending you things.
Yep.
And then you review them. Funny stuff. All right. One more quick thing, because it's kind of related to what we're going to talk about later. And Fulya hasn't mentioned it yet, but Eurovision happened today.
Yes, I was okay. Look, in my defense, I'm on like 4.5 hours sleep.
Dude, I'm on like 3 hours sleep. Don't talk to me about sleep. Okay.
I had to have a V. I'm trying to like get through the day. I feel like I'm definitely gonna crash after this podcast. I'm waiting for it. It's gonna.
I'm gonna drive to my partner's house, have dinner, and then pass the fuck out. That's my evening tonight.
I am full. Good night.
Good night. Thanks for coming. There's the door. Anyway, Eurovision.
Right. Yes.
Eurovision. We won't do a spoiler on here just in case, because it is very soon and fresh. But yeah, interesting voting. Fulya. I'm looking forward to hopefully sometime this week catching up with you and Wayne and maybe doing a podcast. Hopefully, so we can discuss it ad nauseum. But yeah, definitely not the batch of songs not as good, I would say, as the last couple of years.
This year was a little disappointing.
Yeah.
And I will also say I don't watch the semifinals, but this year what I ended up doing was I had a look to see who didn't qualify for the grand final, and I listened to their songs, but I didn't listen to the grand finalists.
Yeah,
because I'm like, I still want to go in with
cool.
the surprise and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up while I was at work listening to the songs that didn't qualify, and there were some really good ones in there too.
There's a couple of good ones that I was very surprised did not.
I was also quite surprised that Gojo didn't make it through to the grand final. I will say I'm not a big fan of the song. It's a bit cringy, but it's very Eurovision, which is what I thought would get us through.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, we just didn't get through. And then I saw the performance after the fact, and I'm like, this is a good performance. Even though I don't really like the song that much, the performance is still pretty good. But I was still kind of surprised that we didn't get through. And then I watched the grand final, and then I'm like, some of these songs got through, and Australia didn't. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah, Tori. Me and my group of friends I watched it this morning. We were all like, "How the fuck did Portugal get here?" And there's like,
Estonia. Estonia.
hey, I like
Nope.
espresso
No,
macchiato.
I'm sorry.
It was great. It was in my top 5.
Nope.
I can't.
Nope. Top 5? Are you kidding?
Yeah.
All right, I need to
Spoilers for the
shut up.
podcast. Yeah, we're gonna... anyway,
Holy crap.
anyway, that's hilarious. So we're gonna have a good podcast. So we'll get together. We'll make it happen this week. But anyway, yes, it was interesting voting process, interesting batch of songs this year. And yeah, another Eurovision done and dusted.
It is. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And yeah.
Spoiler alert, it's still in Europe.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, we're going to another country in Europe in 2026. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. Yeah, I don't want to say too much more. Save it for the other pod. Agreed. Yes. Yeah, justice for Gojo. I'll leave it at that. Okay. That's the weekly watchings, which means that's done. We're moving on to our next segment, which is actually this week going to be the trailer park.
Rolling up to the trailer park where we all park all the trailers. Yeah.
It's trailer park time, and we've got 3 banging superhero related trailers to discuss this week. What a week for DC and Marvel. Starting with our Marvel trailer, of course, because I don't have it any other way. Ironheart. We finally got a trailer for Ironheart. Yes, that show is still coming out. It's still happening. It was announced like 5 years ago, and I'm not exaggerating.
And filmed 3 years ago.
And filmed, yeah. Oh boy. We won't talk about that. It's all right. We're on an uptick. Thunderbolts has put us back on the upswing. All right. We're riding the high. Ironheart. Yeah, this was a good trailer. It showed a lot. It probably showed too much, if I'm actually going to be honest, because I feel like they could have left it looks like there's a twist reveal of like the good guy turned out to be the bad guy, and they've put that in the trailer, and I'm like, that's a bad decision. Especially when you want people to watch this show because we have been waiting so long for it. It's a weird choice, but anyway. But it's cool to see Riri Williams back in action. You know, we first met her back in Wakanda Forever at the end of 2022, so it's been, by the time this comes out, it'll be 2.5 years since we first met her. And yeah. I'm curious. I mean, they didn't say too much of what it's about. It's just kind of like, you know, it looks like she's, you know, obviously improved her tech skills. She's at MIT doing her thing, and she's, you know, being kind of recruited by some vigilantes, I'm guessing, to help them with their stuff, and then that goes bad and whatever else happens. And there'll probably be some kind of general standard cameos from other MCU characters to connect the whole thing. Maybe. Ryan Coogler, though, is involved with this, which I think is very promising. And that is the main thing I will take away from this trailer, going, okay, we, you know, yes, it was filmed, like, as you said, Mike, a while ago now. And, you know, we're also riding the Sinners high at the moment for Ryan Coogler. So, I mean, he makes very good choices. So I hope his involvement with this is very hands-on, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm, curious and excited and a little nostalgic to see someone getting into an Iron Man-like suit and flying around. The sounds were there, and I'm just like, oh, Tony. You know. So yeah, I'm keen. I'm keen. Yeah, there's probably not going to be much more trailers between now and when it comes out, because it's coming out very soon. But yeah, I'm keen to see what it's all about. Fulya, what about yourself? Did this trailer grab you? How are you feeling about Ironheart?
I'm not sure how I feel, to be honest. After watching the trailer, like, it looks really cool. I completely forgot that it was going to be a TV series and not a movie. And when it said Marvel Television, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, it's coming to Disney Plus then. And I liked what I saw, but I feel the same way as you, Kendall, in the sense that it did show a lot in the trailer. I feel like they could have left out a few sort of minor details that we didn't really need to see. But overall, it looks like it's going to be a good show. I don't know what else I can really say. I hope it's good when the series does come out, and then we'll see where it goes. This is definitely kind of a lead into most likely a Young Avengers kind of a scenario, maybe.
Maybe.
But I she's gonna be in like the big Avengers films, like Doomsday for sure. So, or maybe not actually, considering that. Oh, but then there's probably going to be some surprises because they don't always announce every single cast member that's going to be in there. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but it's looking pretty interesting so far.
Indeed. Thank you for your thoughts on that one. Mike, I'm curious to hear what you think about Ironheart. What did you make of this trailer?
Yeah, I don't really have much to say about it because it's a bit difficult to get hyped even after Kevin Feige came out to say, you know what, we're sort of burning the candle at both ends, and all our stuff wasn't really up to scratch because it was like too much. And me being a humble person, this is Kevin Feige, I couldn't really get around to everywhere, and that's why some of the stuff has been lackluster, especially with the TV version of the Marvel stuff, Marvel TV, and this is sort of like part of the program as well, like before that. So I'm a bit concerned that they're just dumping it all in one day, so they don't really have. Well, sorry, no,
They're doing they're doing the 3-episode on launch and then a week to week after.
So 3.
No. So what? Yeah. So what I mean is, on launch day, we get 3 episodes. Next week we
Okay.
get 1 episode. The week after we get 1 episode, and then we get 1 episode, and that's it. Because there's only 6 episodes all up. But we're gonna
Okay.
get.
Oh, so it's a limited series.
It's a limited
Yeah.
series. But then again, most of the Marvel shows have only been 6 episodes anyway. I mean, we just had Daredevil, that was a bit different, but most of them are generally 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, essentially,
Sorry to interrupt, but yes.
Essentially, Daredevil was meant to be 1, and it was just an 18 episode run.
Yeah.
But they've halved that, and they're just turning one season into 2. So, okay. Yeah, and it is unfortunate that this trailer came out the same day as another trailer that we're going to talk about that had a even bigger splash. So it's good that we're actually talking about it first, even though we can't really talk much about it. So it's interesting having technology and magic at the same time. So that's going to be an interesting dilemma. And yeah, and people are starting the is it Mephisto?
Oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
God, could you imagine if after 5 years they fucking do Mephisto in Ironheart?
Yeah, I think they will.
Just to fuck with us.
Yeah, and didn't they say Sacha Baron Cohen's going to be Mephisto in something?
He was, I think he was cast or in talks at one point to play Mephisto in what show was it? I can't remember now. They all blend together. It was
Yeah.
a show. It was a show.
It was a show.
I don't remember which one.
Yeah.
It wasn't One Division. Oh, it was Agatha all along. Agatha all along.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I was going to say the last time we saw Riri is in What If. So.
Oh yeah, thank you for correcting me. Yes, she was in What If.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
And also the Red Hood was also in What If as well. So it would have made sense. Would have made sense of having this like closer to that, so they can sort of cross pollinate.
Yes.
Of things, but they sort of I don't know why it got delayed. Yeah,
who knows?
I suppose they're now obligated to actually get it out now, so just dump all their rubbish so they can put it in between Thunderbolts, you Avengers, and Fantastic Four, just so they can ride the high, so to speak. But it's going to be that meme. Marvel's alive, Marvel's dead. Marvel's alive, Marvel's dead. Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh well. So where's this coming out? In its 3-episode dump.
Yes, Ironheart. The first 3 episodes will be available to watch on Disney Plus on the 24th of June.
It's gonna be June.
It's gonna be June.
Not long, about a month.
Yeah, just over a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Second trailer is the trailer that Mike has hinted at that came out on the same day as the previous trailer.
Just a little independent film.
Just a little itsy bitsy thing. It's funny because I swear to God, Marvel did that to DC a couple of years ago with something, and it was hilarious. But anyway, I can't remember what it was. But anyway, Superman. We got a new trailer for Superman. Oh my God! Oh, Fulya's flying through the air.
Look up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a bird.
It's a bird.
It's a bird.
It's a plane.
You know,
the plane.
It's kind of fitting, I guess, that I actually ended up watching the 1978 Superman this week. My partner had not seen it, surprisingly.
I was tempted.
Him and I both.
Yeah.
I still haven't.
Yeah.
have to
and he
see
liked it. So he liked it. And then, watching this trailer and again hearing the iconic theme music they're using, and I'm just like, oh my God, it's so great. No, this was a cool trailer. It gives a little bit more context for what we can expect in this movie. Obviously, Lois either already knows before the movie starts or finds out very early on in the film who Clark really is. And I kind of like that because we do get... I mean, Man of Steel and the Justice League, like the Zack Snyder stuff, kind of didn't wait too long to tell Lois who he really was. But from memory, it's been a while. But this to basically right off the bat be like, hey Lois, I'm Superman. I think that's pretty cool. And also, speaking of the Man of Steel side of things, the fact that they're going for, and we saw like the tease in the first trailer of like, people protesting him or like whatever. The fact that they're kind of going down that rabbit hole again of Superman's in the wrong. A lot of people didn't like how they did that, how Zack Snyder did that in terms of the DCEU when that was a thing and making this darker version of Superman. But here, this is a Superman who is fighting for what he believes in and, not wanting to give up and he kind of feels like... It's funny because, people say Steve Rogers is the Boy Scout of Marvel, I guess you could say, but Superman is the Boy Scout of DC, and it kind of he gave me Steve Rogers vibes here of like, I don't care what you say, what country it is, I'm gonna go save people's lives because it's the right thing to do. And so I'm kind of curious to see how it all goes and how it all unfolds. And I don't know if they're implying that Lex is president here because they specifically put that line of dialogue over a shot of Lex Luthor. So, and he does
Yeah,
become,
bit confused about that too.
yeah, he does become president in the comics, I'm pretty sure. And in some of the animated stuff, if I'm not mistaken. But that might be an Elseworlds thing. But so who knows? But anyway, I'm really curious. It looks really good, really good. There's a lot going on, with all the other characters and stuff, and we got a bit more Crypto here as well, defending the Fortress of Solitude.
He's so cute.
He's so cute. I can't wait to meet him. I can't wait to meet him. Yeah, it's just really great, and I'm kind of liking David Corrin Sweat's vibe as Clark Kent as Superman. I've liked it since they announced his casting, but now we're seeing more and more. I'm like, this is great. I like how he called Lois Cronkite, and I like how also not very many people are going to get that reference when they watch the
Including
movie.
me.
I did.
I got the reference.
This is Walter Cronkite.
Right over my head.
Well, yeah, Cronkite's he's a very famous American news presenter on TV. In Bruce Almighty Fulya, Jim Carrey does a Walter Cronkite impression. And that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Oh,
yes.
that, right.
That's
And-
Walter Cronkite.
And Robin Williams
And-
does a Walter Cronkite in Good Morning Vietnam.
Yes, that's true.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
He
He's
does.
very
He does the weather.
prolific. That's right.
What it is,
That's
what
right.
it shall be, what it was. Tomorrow will be hot and shitty. With another hint of hot and shitty.
That's right.
Basically,
yeah.
it'll be hotter than a snake's ass in a rag and white.
Yeah, I don't really have too much else to say. I just can't wait to watch this movie. I'm so excited. Like I don't know if I'm more excited for this or Fantastic Four now. Like it's
Okay.
it's
you're
kind of-
conflicted.
I'm so conflicted. It's so weird.
Dizzy. I
can't
choose.
I can't choose between them. Oh my god. Fulya, what did you think of this trailer as the non-DC person, I suppose, of the podcast?
So, this trailer actually gave me a bit more information about what we're going to be facing in this movie, and I kind of have to say I am a little excited to actually see this. I've mentioned this many times on the podcast here. I'm not a huge DC fan. I've tried to get into DC in terms of like the movies, but it just didn't really pull me in. The only like things that I like, I think in terms of DC, the ones that I've enjoyed the most have mostly been maybe the TV shows, like the ones from CW, like the Arrow series.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed them, but after that, I just didn't really like go into any other DC stuff. I've tried watching movies in the past. I haven't seen any of the Superman movies at all. I don't think I have. Not even Man of Steel. But I have watched. I think I've watched the Justice League, and that was before the Zack Snyder cut. And that's probably the only time that I got to see Superman in a film. Back in the day when I was a kid, I used to watch like the really old school animated show, not the 90s one though. It was a different one. But after watching this trailer, it got me jumping into Max, or well, spoilers, it's going back to becoming HBO Max.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Love.
I was going to sneak that in with the next trailer. But
Right.
thank you, Fulya.
I went back into the app to see what DC IP was in there. And I came across the 90s animated series of Superman, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to jump into this and watch it. I haven't started it yet, but it's on my watch list. I am also planning on watching I think one of the Superman movies that is on there, but I can't remember which one it is. But this trailer has got me wanting to actually see older stuff a little bit more.
That's
just
good.
to sort of get an idea of what to expect going into this. Not that I have much time to do that, but the fact that I'm just interested in doing that is a sign that the trailer was actually really good. So I am interested in actually watching it. So we'll see.
I love this. Last of Us, and then
the koala's
Superman.
evolving. All right, I'm evolving.
Koala's evolving. I love this.
I'm a Pokemon. I'm evolving.
This isn't even her final form.
Po-
Michael.
Koala evolves into Drop Bear.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, I mean,
Oh dear.
You've got a Drop Bear?
There is a koala Pokemon. He's called Kamala. Kamala. That is Kamala. I'm showing on the podcast a video.
It's very, very cute. Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I have to have Kamala.
I think so.
That is me.
That is you. That's very cute. All right, Michael.
Hello.
What are your thoughts on the Superman trailer?
This isn't my Superman. He doesn't snap necks. He's
Whoa now.
Well, you're going to watch old stuff, so you're going to have to get to the Snyder. Anyway, yeah, I'm really hyped for this. It's great to see where we are established within the sort of overall arc of Superman. So it's a well-established Superman. We don't need to go back to falling to Earth or anything, but they'll probably touch on that, briefly, because it's been 50 years of theatrical Superman, so we know the story. Good to see Lois knows it is Clark is Superman, and then just the interaction that they have, that Superman is Clark is basically being the Superman that he is at the moment. So there's a bit of tension there, and yeah, Lois is a really good journalist, actually asking these hard hitting questions. Is probably stuff that Clark has never really thought about, and yeah, you can sort of see a dynamic there. So maybe this scene starts close to the start of the film, not necessarily like in the middle and all that. Otherwise, I think the tension is probably to start. But I can't wait to watch this film, because it's very intriguing, because I don't know where it's going to go. We know Lex Luthor is in it, but all these other well-established characters are in it as well. So it's going to be very interesting. Instead of having, we're just going to drop these characters in, and it's like, we got to quickly do their backstory. No, we don't need to do that. We can just drop everyone in. So that's going to be good, because you don't want to be bogged down with hey, we're doing this now, catch up. It's like, catch up in your own pace. So that's good. Yeah, seeing all of them, Guy Gardner and Hawk Girl and all this as well. That does turn up in the next trailer as well. Wow, it's all interconnected, it's all connected. Just Guy Gardner's just shooing away the. Yeah, he's a bit of a dick. So I like. Yeah, yeah, I can't wait for this and the sort of dynamic. And yeah, Crypto's just cute. And just, he's a good boy, but man, he needs some training. I like it. I like it a lot. So when is this coming out? Same day?
Yes. Superman will fly into theaters on the 10th of July.
On the 10th of July.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm so freaking excited. It'll be interesting to see the box office drop off if there is one, because two weeks later after that is Fantastic Four. So it'll be. I'm really curious to see how both films are gonna compare to each other, because people are gonna compare them.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're
Are they-
both good and everyone wins. So
Yeah. Or you could just do Rocky Horror. Double feature. Science
Yeah.
fiction.
I like it. All right, we've got one more trailer to talk about before we get into the bigger discussions. One more. Peacemaker season 2. Speaking of DC, finally got a good teaser trailer for Peacemaker. And as Mike has just said, we get to see some of those characters crossing over from James Gunn's Superman into James Gunn's Peacemaker. Of course, we get
Such a tonal whiplash.
Yeah, yeah, it's so funny. I'm really curious to see how it's all gonna, line up and work out and stuff. But yeah, of course, Sean Gunn, James's brother, is here. Which is fun to always see him. And then we've got Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner, and then I forgot until this trailer came out that Isabella Merced is playing Hawkgirl in Superman. The actress who's playing Dina on The Last of Us, for those playing at home. So yay for more of her, because she's great. So the opening scene was very, very funny, and I love this show. Season 1 was so good. And I'm really curious to catch up with the characters here and see what's going on. Clearly they're trying to involve Peacemaker in some of the larger goings on in the new DCU, as we know it. But then there's also the ground level stuff that he's dealing with. I'm curious to see where it's going. Oh, and they're obviously doing a live action version of Rick Flag Sr., as portrayed by Frank Grillo here in live action form, reprising his role from Creature Commandos, where he voiced the character. I didn't think they were going to do this, considering Frank Grillo is probably only 10 years older than Joel Kinnaman, if that. So, suspension of disbelief, I guess.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, Indiana Jones. Yeah, fair.
I mean, they're like 15 years apart.
Yeah. Very good point. Good comparison. But hey, I like that as a conflict for this. He's gonna want revenge for what Peacemaker did to Rick Flag Jr. So
my baby boy.
Yeah. So that's cool. And then I know, it just looks great. I can't wait for more of the 11th Street Kids shenanigans. More eagerly, and hopefully they don't change the opening credits, because they're the best of all time. So, but maybe they'll probably redo them. I don't know if they'll change the song or whatever, but they've got new characters, because for those who watched the first season, you'll know that the opening credits included all the characters, not just the main heroes, but it had the villain, like all the side characters were doing the dance in the start, so they'll probably have a new version of that. But yeah, however it happens, I can't wait for the show. It's going to be good. Now, Fulya, you go from Superman DC and we go to Peacemaker DC, made by the same guy, right? Except one tastes like, sunshine and rainbows, and the other one tastes like, black coffee.
What a comparison.
What a comparison, right? How are you feeling about this? I know Mike and I have been trying to convince you to watch Peacemaker for a while, and I think you've been kind of adamant in the no camp. I'm guessing this trailer didn't do it for you, but please prove me wrong.
So yes, I did watch the trailer. I like watching the trailer, noticing certain different like heroes popping up. Um, I don't know. Like, I feel like I don't know if season 2 has redeemed him in any way for me. I'm in two minds about it. I don't know how I feel. I've got mixed emotions.
It's part of a connected
yeah.
universe. You need to see it.
Well, that's the thing. I noticed that Green Lantern's in this, the Nathan
Yeah.
Fillion Green Lantern's in this movie, and I'm like, sorry, in this show, and I thought, oh no, don't. And then the way they decided to end this trailer is DC going multiverse?
Oh yeah. To mention that, there's another Peacemaker.
What?
Fucking.
Yeah. I'm wondering if anything in Superman might explain that. But yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, look, I don't know.
Is it Earth
I
1
really
or
don't know.
Earth 2?
Marvel's already done it. I don't want to do another multiverse with superheroes.
More multiverse.
Yeah, look, I don't know. I don't know. See me when it releases? Maybe. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen to me. We'll see what happens.
We will see. We will see. I remain hopeful. But not too hopeful. Mike, what did you think of this teaser for Peacemaker season 2? Did the hype train come into the station or what?
Yeah. I'm very intrigued on how it's going to fit in, because that's the big question. And but it'll be funny nonetheless. I think the way that James Gunn is probably going to do this is, well, he's probably self-explained that you can have like multiverse stories like going on at the same time. Case in point, maybe we'll get another Matt Reeves Batman eventually.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Eventually.
Once the script is done, I guess. Yeah, so you can have like multifacets of different styles, different things, and that's why I think Marvel is sort of slowly turning to that, where you don't have to see everything, but you can have fun with different sort of genres, tastes, and that's what this is. Because the juxtaposition of Superman is like the hope and everything, and then Peacemaker, and Creature Commandos as well. How this is sort of it's a bit more adult and bit carefree and all this, and where it fits in, don't know. I mean, even the differences between like a Batman comic and a Superman comic is very different as well. Like you've got Metropolis, like this big high rise, and everything's lit up and everything's grand, and then you got Gotham that's dirty, greasy, it's always fucking raining, sort of shit, and I kind of like that within that particular universe. Marvel hasn't really done that. Some say Deadpool probably opened the doors to that, of having something different per se, and then we're going to be going into Fantastic Four as well, of being in a different universe and a different style, different. It's like, I love different. I love so much different. Yeah, so I can't wait for Peacemaker Part 2, because I got my wife into watching the first Peacemaker, so it's going to be a good watch when we get into it. And I don't know, maybe Peacemaker is the gateway drug into watching Superman. I don't know.
Let's hope so.
So it's going to be the absolute polar opposite to Fulya, where you might watch Superman and you're a bit iffy about Peacemaker, where my wife is different. Oh well. So when is Peacemaker going to be dropped?
Yes, Peacemaker, the second season will begin streaming on the 22nd of August on the soon-to-be rebranded HBO Max.
Rebranded.
Rebranded.
Return branded.
Sure. Like, they're a bunch of fucking idiots over there. Anyway,
No, just one.
Make up your damn minds.
Yeah. They're
Thanks,
led
Ashley.
led by a fucking idiot.
Led by Donkey.
They're led by a fucking moron. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We are done with Trailer Park, which means
Yeah.
we are here to talk about one of the things we've been teasing this whole podcast, which is also known as the best Star Wars ever. And that is, of course, Andor. Season 2, we are going to be covering the second half of the season, because last time we were here, we had just talked about episodes 4, 5, and 6. Yes, I got the numbers right. And now we're going to talk about 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But we're not going to go into too much detail. We're just kind of give, I guess, a general thought of how things went. Highlight anything in particular we want to talk about and discuss, and yeah, we'll just take it from there. But it's over, Mike. I share your sadness, because I too was left just watching Cassian fly off from Yavin on his ship with K2SO. I was just like, oh no, that's all there is, and now he's going off to die.
Yep.
They're all going off to die.
They're all going off to die. Yeah, it's just it's crazy. But yeah, I guess I don't know really even where to fucking start with this, because I'm so annoyed I was sick last week, because for me, episodes 7, 8, 9, especially 8 and 9, I think are the two best episodes of the entire show.
Mm-hmm.
And that says a lot after the excellent prison storyline we got in season 1. Yeah, but seeing the way, for me, like, my favorite things in this entire ending was just seeing how the Gorman genocide effectively kicked off. And then switching gears to Mon Mothma and Coruscant, and finally getting to see how she basically gave the middle finger to Palpatine and Mike dropped the fuck out of there. We've been waiting years to see that, and that didn't disappoint at all, especially because it was the first time her and Cassian ever met. So that was cool into itself. But I just Cyril Khan.
Cyril.
I want to talk about Cyril Khan for a sec. Just because, goddamn. Goddamn. Who? Yeah,
Who are you?
Who are you? Oh man. Yeah, I read something that Tony Gilroy said about Cyril, and I think it was before season 2 started. And it was something along the lines of Cyril is a romantic character, and that's kind of part of why people have latched onto him. I personally, I was just sad that he died, especially because he was this fucking close to redeeming himself and getting the fuck out of Dodge and having a life away from the Empire, who knows, or away from his mum, I don't know, but away from Dedra. The implosion of that relationship was fascinating to see, as well. Considering Dedra was she's so blindsided. She doesn't realize how deep in the fucking thing she is, and he's just like, "What the fuck are you doing? You're literally letting these people die." Yeah. And then, he tells her where to fucking go, and like it was intense to see him, like timid Cyril Khan, grab hold of her and fucking shake her and just try and talk her
Oh
down.
yeah.
That
Yep.
was a moment. But then the fact that he couldn't let go of Cassian. He couldn't let fucking go. And then it's even more devastating by the fact that Andor doesn't know who he is. Like, they never came face to face on Thingo. What's it called? What's the planet called?
Ferret?
Ferrix, thank you. They never came face to face on Ferrix. He doesn't know him. And Cyril was like devoted to helping the Empire take him down. And that's the last thing he hears is, "Who are you?" before he gets shot in the head. And it's just, oh my god. But it's just, for me, it was just like, he was so close to, and he couldn't help himself. He couldn't get out. Oh yeah.
He just saw a little wedge of the door open, and he had to go through that door.
He had to do it. Yeah. He saw an opportunity and he took it, and it was the wrong choice. And it's just devastating. Cost him his life. I couldn't believe they killed, like, that was how he ended. I'm just, oh my god, he's dead. Okay.
If you go onto IMDb, there is a literal screenshot of just him, his face, and you just see the laser from the gun just shooting at his head, and I'm like, what a freeze frame to catch.
That's a choice. That's a choice. But I also kind of liked him as being the sort of this middleman between the Gormans and the Empire, and how that kind of played out, and then the way that kind of comes together when not only when he, tells Dedra what's what, but when that scene, that fucking iconic scene in the square when everyone's singing, and then everything falls apart, and you just see Cyril in the middle of it, and he's just like, what's the actor's name again? I can't remember his name. Kyle Soller.
Yeah.
Yes, Kyle Soller. Fucking hats off to him for just an incredible performance. The entire cast, yes, but just in that specific scene where he's just seeing these innocent people die and knowing he had a part in it and knowing he can't do anything about it, and I just, oh man. Yeah, he's definitely, I mean, I've said it before, he's definitely a favorite character of mine, of much fascination. So I know, Fulya, you've been a fan of Cyril's since season 1. How did his ending go for you, and just, the general Gorman situation?
Yeah, look, my heart broke for him as soon as he kind of like got into that point where he's realizing what's happening, and he can see that Dedra's not giving a shit in some way. And even after standing up to her and just having this argument with her, that she just is like, I'm just taking orders, I'm doing what is good for the Empire, and he can see the morality of it all, the ethical side of it all, more so than what Dedra does. And so when those two are like alone in the room, and all of a sudden he starts to get aggressive, it kind of took me by surprise, because I thought that that's something that Cyril wasn't really capable of, because he was always so very sort of shy and kind of a bit more reserved. But I feel like after seeing everything that was happening on Gorman, after, everything that happened, in his office, having to, all the bugs that were in his office that, the Empire was like, hey, we need to search your office for bugs and cameras and whatever, microphones or whatever. And then I think all of that just filled him up with all this emotion that it just ended up erupting for him. And
Yeah.
that's where it ended up getting, and that's the reason why he ended up getting more like aggressive, because he could see what was happening from both sides of the picture. And so, yeah, it was just heartbreaking to see that all, see on his face, the realization coming to fruition for him. But the moment, like there was a couple of moments where Cyril and Cassian almost cross paths. Like they walk past each other, they have no clue in the square. And I'm like, oh my God, he's right there. Cassian's right there.
Yeah.
Cyril. But the moment that they actually do come across each other and Cyril sees his face, I was like, don't do it, dude. Just walk. He just couldn't like you said, he just could not let it go. The moment, the second he saw him, he's like, this is it. It's all or nothing. And he just went for it. And yeah, R.I.P. Cyril.
Yeah. Went down. Yeah.
Yeah. It was so hard to get a read on him this whole season. Like, was he on the side of the Empire? Was he on the side of the Gormans? Like, what the hell is happening? So he was a very complex character.
Yeah, I really like that about him. I think that's part of why I like him so much, is because you didn't know what he was going to do. You didn't know where his allegiances really were. And I think despite bowing out the way he did, it's great storytelling. So
100%. Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. Mike, tell us your thoughts on Cyril and Dedra and the Gorman stuff here. What did you make of it all?
Episode 8 just broke me, because
me too.
It was all leading towards this thing where you got the setup in the previous 6 of the Empire very slowly like forming a campaign to have the Empire like against the Gormans, and you can sort of see the sort of underbelly within the Gormans trying to rise up, and it's very well done and very true to life. Really, you get they have taken a lot of history of where this takes place, and how even with the Gormans like singing in their own language in a fit of defiance against the Empire and what's happening, and then just leading them to the slaughter. And I think Cyril is in all intents of the word, a pathetic character, where he thought he needed to appease the Empire, and you can definitely see that in Deborah as well, where he always looking for approval. You can definitely see that with his mother and all that, and just the passing of the baton to Deborah as well. It's a weird dynamic, and so he definitely had sort of. He liked being like the agent for the Empire within the Gormans, as like, I'm doing this for the Empire, but I'm also liking my sort of life here, considering the Gormans are like a very textile like place, and how they don't really fight or anything like that, and their sort of rebellion is sort of a bit mismatched because they've never done this before. They've never had, and you can definitely see that with Andor coming in, Cassian coming in, and it's like he's like, you don't know, you don't know what is out there, and your ragtag is not need to knuckle down and actually take this seriously. You're not playing. This isn't a game. It's not a game anymore. And you can see that in Cyril as well, where the shoe drops. It's like, oh, I'm leading these people to die. This is what it's going to be, and it's all my fault. And him doing that sort of realization, it's like, and he feels betrayed by the Empire, betrayed by Deborah, that he sees that only used him for her own gain to be appeased by the Empire. And then we can sort of see that like fall apart in the next 3 episodes with her and Krennic. And yeah, and he wasn't thinking straight. I don't think he was mean to like, I'm going to escape now. It was like, and then he sees all his troubles like right there, Cassian. It's his fault that I'm in this situation from the very start. I need to take him down. And I really enjoyed the slack-jawed like choreography in that fight. It was just dirty. It was just a dirty fight. It's not this like stylized fight that you get to know in Star Wars. It's just wailing and all that, and you can just see just seeing the emotion and all that. And then that line of "Who are you?" and Cyril just goes, "My life has no meaning," and then he gets shot in the head.
Yeah,
this is well done. And Deborah.
Deidre.
Dedra.
Yeah. Deborah. Yeah. She it's nature and nurture with this stuff, because she loves order. She loves like the ascension into the ranks, and not she needs to prove herself with all that, and it's like, I need to be one up. I need to do this for this. And then that's essentially, not to cut ahead, but that's her downfall of actually overextending. And then she gets to find out what everything was all about. It's like, but I did that. It's like, well, you stretched too far, and you need to go away now. And I've been seeing a lot of discourse where the Empire has a lot of symmetry with the choking as well. Like definitely with like Darth Vader doing the choking, it all harkens to that, where that's what the Empire does. It chokes you out, no matter who you are, but they sort of choke their own people. So, which is a big metaphor for like the fascism and the totalitarianism of it is. It's like, as soon as you're done your job and you have no and you got nothing else left to prove, they just get you out. It's like they don't need you anymore. And I get this, and that scene with in a Rogue One with Krennic and Tarkin hits more, because that's what Krennic does in this show, and even he's not immune to that. Either. And it's like, that's good symmetry. This is good Star Wars storytelling. Love it.
100%. I may as well get my Dedra thoughts out of the way then quickly. That I just like, she's another character I was really fascinated by, and her story was so interesting as well. But then the fact that like her aspirations, her desire to be the one to catch Axis, the one to stop Luthen and the rebellion. And like I said before, she's so blindsided.
Hubris.
The fact that hubris, yes, absolutely, and it leads to essentially that leads to the downfall of the Empire, right? Like you can trace Dedra Miro to fucking, you know, the end, Return of the Jedi, like everything.
Someone said, and I have to laugh. The main reason for the downfall for the Empire was a miscommunication email.
Yeah.
Someone sent the wrong email to the wrong person.
Yeah. Oh my god. And I kind of like, I feel bad, but I don't feel bad. I shouldn't feel bad for her, but I do, and I guess that's a mark of the great storytelling we're witnessing in this show. You know, she's responsible for the Gorman genocide. She played a big part in that. But at the same time, I think we were all kind of rooting for her in a way. Like we were kind of on board with her determination. And then my hopes for some kind of weird redemption. I mean, Cyril was the only one close. But then just to finish her story with, you know, she's on. I'm guessing she's on Narkina 5, right? She's on the prison planet. She's in the outfit. She's in the cell, and the lights go out, and she just starts sobbing, and I'm just like, oh God.
No way out.
No way out.
out.
Yeah, and I saw one post on Tumblr, I think, that was like, you know, well, you know, she was involved with the building of the Death Star, just not how we expected. And then just speaking of that, one of the other best scenes in this show was that scene with Krennic and her when he's giving it to her. Fucking Ben Mendelsohn, fucking like he's in like what, maybe 3 or 4 episodes here, and he only gets a handful of scenes, but he doesn't fuck around, and it's just brilliant to watch. Like that moment. And I fucking love this shot too, the cinematography where he puts his finger on her head and you can't see his face. You don't need to.
Or just the bottom of his head.
Just the bottom of his head.
She's in shot.
The way that was framed, and then just the sheer just heartbreak and devastation and fear and terror on Dedra's face. Like Denise Goff as well needs a fucking round of applause, because like, god damn, that scene was fucking excellent. And I just hearing it and going, oh, Dedra, you fucked up, love, sorry. Like, just, oh man. Yeah, I loved it. Anyway, Fulya, do you have any thoughts on Dedra Miro and her the conclusion of her story?
You pretty much put it out on the table.
Yeah.
You did all the work for me. Dedra was definitely another complex character that also kind of felt a little like you knew what you were going to get with her. Probably not as complex as what Cyril was, but you already mentioned the fact, because she's working for the Empire, she's all about order. She wants to make sure everything goes to plan. But she, like Cyril, had the same fixation of trying to get to this one person, and for her it was Luthen. I liked how she got to a point where she ended up finding Luthen and being like, right, you found him, let's go and catch up with him, you know? And that particular, so for me, that particular scene where it was Luthen and Dedra, and like they both know who each other are now at this point. Yeah. And they're trying to sort of pretend to talk about antiquities and being like, oh yes, well, I brought something along with me. Tell me, what do you think this is worth? And then just slaps that thing on the table. We're like, and then the look on Luthen's face, you could tell he was getting worried.
Yeah.
That scene, and then the moment they decide to drop the pleasantries and be like, all right, let's just get down to it, this is what's happening. And that scene had me a little worried for Luthen. And I realized that this is where, because the when the episode started, it says at the top, like, it gives you the warning for what you're gonna end up seeing in this episode,
Oh, I
and
didn't see.
it mentioned suicide,
Mm.
and I'm like, oh, someone's killing themselves off. And it was him. He's like, I ain't given no information. I need to die right here, right now.
Yeah.
But what really had me going as well was that I thought he was done, but then immediately DJ was like, get a medic. I want him alive.
Yeah.
And they managed to kind of do that. And then I think I really liked what episode was that? I think it was it 10 or 11 where he was in the hospital?
At the end of 10,
and it was
but
10,
it was 11.
Right? It was 11. Okay. So they take him to the hospital, but then I think episode 11, that penultimate episode for me, like the fact that Claire had her mission to go save Luthen in a sense, save more so to make sure that the Empire doesn't get any information from him. So it was kind of her way of saying goodbye. But
sometimes death is better.
Yeah. I don't know if I should go into this particular part of that episode.
Well, we can go into Luthen now.
Yeah, I guess Mike's touched on Dedra a bit, so we can. I'm happy to go straight into it. May as well keep going.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the mission for Claire to infiltrate the hospital to then take Luthen off the life support, essentially. We get to see her skill in costume changes, in trying to, be inconspicuous and trying to get through, and
and her adaptability as well.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because throughout this whole series, we get to see Claire a lot more. We get to see Claire, but we don't get to see her as much. We always knew her as Luthen's assistant, and it was always, she was there to, be
Aid.
the reason. Yeah, be the reason to what Luthen was trying to do and all that sort of stuff, and try to kind of guide him more so. But in this episode, the penultimate episode, I loved seeing Claire in her element, essentially. And she was awesome. To the point where, like, she's conspired, she's planned everything out to the point, and we get flashbacks of how Luthen and Claire met in the first place.
Yeah.
And I was very curious about that, because I'm like, she must have been around with him for a very long time to know what he's like. And
what he would want. And
exactly.
Back when.
And so...
Yeah, back when he looked like Alex Skarsgård.
Yeah, and just seeing those, like, minimal flashbacks, we didn't get very many of them, but there were enough to let us know what their relationship was, as time progressed for them. It was just awesome to see Claire go through all of that. But the thing is, we're seeing these flashbacks because she's thinking about them. So it's kind of her point of view of what we're seeing. It was absolutely fascinating to kind of see Claire in this, even though she does end up quite in a spot of trouble by the end of it.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
Mm.
Which leads to, another great episode of Cassian K2SO and the other guy whose name escapes me coming to the rescue. Yeah. I agree with you fully. I was really glad we got to see more of Claire and learn about her before the show finished.
Mm.
Because she was always quite an enigma, you know. But she had such a strong strong presence.
Yes.
She's very hard to miss, but she's also very easy to miss.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how she likes it, I think. But yeah, I love the whole thing. Like, one of my favorite moments though in like this storyline, I suppose, is when the Imperial, like the ISB guys, figure it out.
Yes.
Like, 'cause they're trying to find her,
They're
obviously,
backtracking,
because
yeah.
they know, and they're going through the footage and all of that, and then when they get to that moment, and they've theorized, like, okay, she's involved, but then she's got another team here, and there's this whole thing, and then he's like, oh, it's just her doing
We're shit.
Yep.
all of this. I thought that was really cool. And yeah, it was nice to kind of see her humanized a bit as well, because she has been very much a cold sort of character, like, but
Yes.
but like, for a reason, she's that way for a reason, and she's able to, pull Luthen back where need be, and whatnot, and whoever else she needs to pull back and rein in and get them to focus. She's very good at doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really nice to kind of dive in with her and see, see what she was all about. I love that scene in the flashback where her and Luthen have put some charges on those Imperial transports on that bridge, and he's teaching her a lesson of, this is how we do this, and what you need to learn here, and the way he's like, don't look, now you can look. Like, he's telling her how to get away with this stuff, this little girl. But
How to be a real
it's
terrorist.
how to be a real terrorist, yeah. How to be a real rebel, because she sets that in motion when she's like, we can't just, after that execution of those people on that random planet they were on,
Which she's recognized one of them, and I think she knows them.
Yeah, I
very
didn't
well.
get that. I got, my interpretation was, she's young, she's seeing someone else young, she's likening herself to that person,
Right.
and going, they're being executed. I mean, maybe she knew them. But that's also
And
definitely an
that's
interpretation.
definitely the vibe I got from her facial expressions of she's
yeah.
like, especially the way that the camera kind of pinpoints one of them, and you're like, does she know him? Like, from maybe from her past or something like that. So yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair assumption. But yeah, no, it was really good, and sad to see Luthen go, of course, but what a great way for him to go out, and it made complete sense. And I think he knew the moment he told Claire, no, I'm going to not take care of the comms. You get the fuck out. Like, that was him going, yeah, I'm sacrificing myself for this.
Well, he's been saying that since season 1.
I'm
doing
knew
this
was gonna take
knowing for a sunriser I know that I'll never see. So he's in for the long haul for that.
Yeah,
absolutely. That line felt very prevalent this season. With the amount of
what have I
people
sacrificed? Everything.
Yeah, exactly. And then Claire, going on to get the vital information to the rebels, and I found that really interesting how they didn't believe her. They didn't want to believe her because they had trust issues with her and Luthen, even though, Cassian's like, yeah, but, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Luthen.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I found that really fascinating. But, it was nice to see at the end, Val and Claire in a, kind of she's trying to make her feel better, and and all of this, and I'm glad. I'm so glad for all that we got, the way her story ended, and I'm glad she didn't die. I was really worried they were gonna
Yeah, same.
get her, but thank God.
Flinch.
Yes, Mike.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on Claire and
Luthen and Claire. Yeah. Luthen is a very fascinating character, and something that Star Wars hasn't done. Well, they touch on it on a little bit of having someone a bit ambiguous. It's like, sure, their ideals is great, like, down with the Empire, but how to get there is very questionable, and sometimes you can't think about it. And even I can't remember his name, but he's informant in the BBS, where
Lonnie.
Yeah, with Lonnie. And your usefulness is done, so I'm gonna have to kill you. I can't have it a loose end. So and that goes on to his speech as well. I have to use the tactics of my enemy, which is what we see. And he knew the jig was up, and it's like, I'm gonna have to do what I do, and having that placed onto Claire to actually go into the hospital and actually take him out, because even through torture, who knows if he might speak? He probably wouldn't, but you can't have that chance. So sometimes death is better. And the backstory and the relationship between Claire and Luthen, which is not their real name, but there you go, is a very interesting one. Him being a soldier and up to his wit's end and saying no more, no more. Could be like in the first half of the Clone Wars, but doesn't really matter about time wise. But he's there to kill Claire's people and family, and she hides in the best of her ability, and Luthen finds her, and Claire is there for Luthen to be reminded that this is what I'm doing it for, because I don't want to do this ever again. I need to take down the Empire and everything at it is, and that dynamic is sort of weird. It's not necessarily like a young cub and lion sort of dynamic that we see in The Last of Us or anything like that. It's a weird dynamic that Claire respects Luthen but doesn't necessarily trust him because of their weird, messed up, fucked up backstory. So, and it's a very interesting dynamic, and I applaud Gilroy's for actually doing something like this in something like Star Wars. How ever since New Hope came out, or Star Wars original trilogy came out, it was very, dare say, cookie cutter. He's like, this is the bad guy, this is the good guys, and we're fighting. But this is a modern audience now. We've gone through the renaissance of the pristine television where we see Sopranos and Walter White and all those characters that are ambivalent to being a good guy or a bad guy. It's them trying to live their life, and it's great to actually set that into a well-established franchise where people know the story and they know where things are, but we're dealing with characters that are more rounded and more questionable, and that's why I just love this show, and I will continue to come back to it each year. And just the heartbreak of Claire just needing to tie up a loose end with Luthen in the hospital. It's heartbreaking, as well as something that needs to be done. And then she goes into hiding and does the Morse code, and there was something that reminded me of I can't remember. Maybe it'll twig in my memory. Can't remember. Something will turn up.
Someone will turn up. Cool. Yeah. I just want to talk about Mon Mothma for a sec. By a sec, I probably mean many seconds, because she's my favorite. Yeah. That episode of with her and Cassian and trying to get out, and the speech and the tension and everything, and how precarious everything is. It just it all came together so amazingly well, and I loved that, like, there was so much complexity around who she could trust and who she couldn't trust. Like, she can trust Bail Organa, but she can't trust the people he sent her. I thought that was excellent. And then she has to trust someone sent by Luthen, who she's never met. But even though Luthen has done things she hasn't agreed with, he's always done it for the benefit of the rebellion. So seeing her just kind of go, yep, you're my best option. I'm just gonna let you take the wheel, take me away. But and then that other moment of just, when they're, he's put his jacket on her, and he's whisking her out of the Senate building, and it suddenly becomes real for Mon in that moment, because she starts freaking out. She's like, I can't do this. I don't think I can do this, She's clung to this identity of, an imperial senator for so long now, all the while towing this line of, being, being on the right side of things, I suppose. And just seeing how she's just had to cling to that, and then it's finally out in the open. She's put it on Front Street. Fuck you, Emperor Palpatine. I'm not standing for your shit anymore, and everyone else should know you're the bad guy. And that was great. But then, just her just going, oh my god, I'm free, but I'm also not free, because if they catch us, I'm fucking dead. So yeah, I loved that episode, and the way that all kind of came together. And then it was really cool to see her on Yavin as well, and seeing like the Yavin stuff in the last couple episodes. I don't have a lot to really say about it, except that, like, the Rogue One vibes were just excellent, and I am really looking forward to watching that now, because it was just cool to see Mon with her haircut. She finally adopted the haircut. And yeah, and they've got her. No, it's not a great haircut. It's fine. I mean, she pulls it off, but it was the 80s. What do you want? Bad haircuts bad haircuts were the 80s. I'm pretty sure it was a prerequisite. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was cool to see. Yeah, I guess my only qualm is that I just really wish we'd had Jimmy Smits as Bail Organa here. Like, that would have, then it would have been perfect. It was a 99.999% the ending here. But if Jimmy Smits had been there, I would have been like, this is great. But it just took me out of it too much. That recasting. Benjamin Bratt was fine, excellent, great. He's in Poker Face too, so I've gone from like watching him in Andor, and then he's in Poker Face, and he plays a not so good guy in Poker Face, and I'm just like, actors, I love it. It's good. Yeah, but yeah, I was really happy with how Mon Mothma's story ended, and that episode was just so well done. For me. Fulya, what about you? How are you feeling about Mon Mothma and where she ended up?
Yeah, look, it was expected that she would get to a point where she was going to speak her truth. She was going to speak her mind. but the fact that she was so nervous to do it, and you could really see it as well. Like she wasn't sure if it was the right time. She didn't think it was like gonna go down well. Obviously, it wasn't gonna go down well, no matter when she says it. But the fact that she still had the support of Bail Organa and the other rebels that she was sort of a part of. She was like if she didn't take the plunge, she was never going to get to that point, Um, and it was just interesting to also just see the fact that Bail Organa had to stay in that sort of situation and not get himself out of it at that point when she made her statement in front of the Empire. So that was interesting, but I guess it all kind of makes sense because then you see later on that he's with her, and in the final chapter. So yeah, Mon Mothma's journey in this season has been a bit of a roller coaster for her, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time we get to the point where she's made that speech, that honestly, that particular episode had me on the edge of my seat because of how intense it was.
Yeah.
The fact that Cassian had to get her out of there as soon as possible, but then there were other people there who were supposed to pick her up after the fact, but to top it off, one of them was a spy from the ISB, and it's just like, what the hell is going on? This is like, it was just tension on top of tension. That's just that's what happened in that episode, and it's trying to get out of there, trying to find a way out, and like some form of escape route. But it was the best kind of intensity that the episode needed. And I am like, this is brilliant television. I have not watched anything like this in a very long time. I'm not the type of person who'd go out of my way to watch shows like this, but because it's in the context of Star Wars, it had me so invested in the characters and the story itself.
Well, Fulya, next week, you got a choice between 3: Sopranos, Breaking Bad, or The Wire. Which one?
Yeah.
I think I'm good. I need to take a break.
That's all right.
But yeah, no. Mon Mothma was, she is definitely the hero the rebels needed. 100%.
Yeah. Absolutely. Mike, do you have thoughts on Mon Mothma here?
Yeah, I do like this episode because it is known that she does do her speech and escape, so we know that much. But still, it's credit to the episode that it was still gut-wrenchingly like clench-inducing, and because unfortunately, Mon Mothma and Cassian both have plot armor. They don't really die, but still, it's just nerve-wracking as it is, which is akin to how good the show is. But new viewers, if you didn't know, and this is your first outing for Star Wars, amazing that you that you have this to start with. I mean, I don't know. Maybe my kids don't watch Star Wars until they're old enough to watch Andor. That'll be interesting. Anyway, they know who Darth Vader is, so that's weird. So hopefully I'll get them to not know that it's Luke's father. That'll be interesting. Anyway, what am I talking about? Oh yeah, Mon Mothma. Yeah, really great episode. And after that episode, they do the time jump. It's like, where do we go from here? It's like, what else is there? I was like, oh yeah, to get to know what the get to know the Death Star plans.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I don't really have too much else to say. Because for me, the last two episodes, I mean, episode 11 is, you know, mostly Cassian trying to get Claire out, and then the finale is just, you know, leaving everyone where they end up, and getting ready for Rogue One. But my final thing I just want to say is that I'm okay.
Hmm?
I wanted more. I wanted more to K2SO. I was hoping for more because I knew going into this season we were gonna get to see him again. But that being said, even though I didn't get as much of him as I expected, what we got was really great. And it was
I
just
think
really fun. Yeah.
I think because of the hallway scene, it's kind of depicting why they don't use him that much, because he's very overpowered.
Yeah. I get it. No, I understand it. I just, you know, I'm just greedy, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, honestly, I'm the same with you, Kendall. I was just like, I want to see more.
Yeah, but it was cool.
Well-
it was cool to you can watch Rogue One.
Rogue One, yeah.
It was cool to see his
Andor season
origin
3.
story and how
Yeah.
how he kind of, you know, the way
That's what I was
Cassian
waiting
found
for.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
like how are they going to get? And when we saw when they introduced those droids on the KX droids on Gorman, I was like, okay, this has to be one of them has to be K2SO. And then and that was seeing K2 be like, you know, switched off Imperial droid for a bit was quite confronting and just terrifying. Like
Yeah.
this droid is going through fucking everyone. Oh my god. But then, you know, seeing him come together and then we get the time jump and then, you know, he's already Cassian's best bud and they're playing, you know, Star Wars games.
Yeah.
It's like Star Wars checkers or something.
And he's going
Space
through
chicken.
all of the probabilities. It's like, this can't be right. Like, you can't. Why would you bet that much?
I mean, I'll say that scene ran very long.
I loved it.
But it was great. It was
Yeah.
great because it was just fun. And then just every moment we had with K2, I think was just great because he, you know, it was Alan Tudyk back in the saddle and
It's
getting
just
getting to be funny.
Yeah,
again.
just the commentary we get from him is the thing that really makes me smile from this particular droid. Just his dialogue,
The dialogue is great. Like the fact that he's like, you know, he takes down all those troopers in that hallway that, you know, look very intimidating when they're coming in there and they've cornered our heroes. And then he just comes through and just makes quick work of them and he's like, Cassian, I've cleared a path. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. We thanks K2. We're aware.
And he uses a stormtrooper as cannon fodder.
Yeah.
But we all know he doesn't need it.
No.
No, it wasn't.
Evil.
It wasn't a stormtrooper. Wasn't it that IBS, the agent that was working for the Empire that was after him? That he was supposed to stand back and let the troopers do their thing.
Yeah.
But still,
the ISB guy. Yeah.
ISB
a
guy.
bulletproof robot using a human as a human shield.
I mean, it feels on brand for K2, but a little terrifying.
But also,
I'm glad he died
the guy that was shooting should have been like, oh shit, I don't have any accuracy here. It doesn't even stop, just keeps shooting, and it keeps hitting him.
Get away from me!
Get away from me!
Nah, KCSO is great.
It is great. Okay, we probably need to move things along. Do you guys have any final quick thoughts before we head on out of Andor and cross the galaxy to another interstellar zone.
Well, we could talk about Star Wars some more and just leave Doctor Who until next week.
No.
Coming from a Doctor Who fan.
No, we're in, and it's fresh in the head.
Yes.
I don't want Fulya to forget things.
That's all right.
And myself too, to be honest.
That's all right.
So,
I will add
some
that did break me as well. We haven't talked about Bex.
Oh, don't. No, there's a reason I didn't bring it up because...
Oh, sorry.
I don't want to... No. I'm going to rant if we talk about Bix. I mean, if you want to talk about Bix, fine. I'm glad she's safe. I'm glad Cassian, I guess, has a son that he never got to meet. Or a girl. I don't know. I don't think they reveal the gender of the kid, do they?
Just a baby.
Just a baby. But what a waste. I'm sorry. That the only thing they fucking got wrong was Bix. And I'm not saying anything else because I will just go off. So
we can talk about that later.
If you guys want to quickly touch on Bix before we wrap up our Andor chat, please feel free. But that's all I'm gonna say.
No, you pretty much said what I would have probably tried to say at least.
Yeah. Mike, do you have Mike's going into hiding. Please, if you have good thoughts about the character and about her story, I want to hear them. I want to feel better about her because, I like her. I like the actress, Adria Arjona. She's very talented, very beautiful. She's awesome. I just think she was wasted here. But please, tell me I'm wrong.
Au contraire.
Au contraire.
I did get upset when she, for the good of the Empire in its defeat, she left. Because she knew that Cassian would do anything for her, and we get to see that throughout this bit of the saga that he looks after her, loves her, and does anything for her, including would actually give up the pursuit of taking down the Empire, and she didn't want that. She says herself that she wants it to get the Empire out of here, and in order to do that, she had to pack up and leave. And because Andor did say it's that I would choose you over the rebellion, so she decided, well, I'm not going to tell you that I'm pregnant, so I'm just going to leave because the rebellion is more important.
She essentially made the decision for him.
Yeah. Because men are stupid. And we get to see in The Last of Us that sometimes love is a bad thing. The pursuit of love can be bad for the cause and all that. So self-sacrifice. And this whole show is about what would you sacrifice? Everything. So sacrifice the relationship between a loved one. And it just hurts more that in the letter she says, when this is over, we'll meet up. And hindsight, that will never happen. And yeah, and fuck you, TV show of sticking a knife in my heart of there's a baby. That Cassian didn't and will never know. But still, it ended a bit like Gladiators, in the wheat field. And so Cassian will meet son and wife. So yeah, I kind of liked it, but I can understand why people didn't, because, you know. Anyway. In order for me to start ranting, let's talk about Doctor Who.
Yes, let's get into the Doctor Who chat. Okay.
I feel like the Doctor Who is going to be the quickie review now.
Yeah. Unfortunately, well, I'll give us an hour maybe, and hopefully not an hour. I'd like to be.
No, not an hour, please.
I would like to be done in about 45 minutes if possible, but we'll see how we go. Well, yes, popcorn culture. Yay! It's popcorn culture time. So yes, so we have 2 Doctor Who episodes which we're gonna discuss and try not to deep dive too much. I mean, granted, we just talked about loosely 6 episodes of Andor, and now we only have 2 episodes of Doctor Who, so we should be able to do this okay. So yes, so we have last week's episode, which was the stories in the machine.
The story in the
Story and the
machine.
engine.
Story in the Engine, sorry. I don't have the title in front of me.
No,
That's
that's
my
okay.
bad.
Raise Against the Machine.
I was not prepared. Story in the Engine. And then this week's episode, which is the Interstellar Song Contest.
How fitting.
How fitting. Yes. So yeah, two solid episodes here, I would say, overall. Just to sum them both up before we dive deeper into them. Yeah, I think I liked. I don't know. There's parts for both of these episodes that I liked, and then parts I didn't like. I guess. Like I have a lot of good things to say, and I have maybe some bad things to say. I don't know. Not too many critiques. I think the only thing is for story in the engine is, I feel like the story was a bit too convoluted for my taste. I don't know. Like I get what I loved what they were doing with, the whole the barber shop and the stories and the fact that it was set in Nigeria and they used animation to do beautiful storytelling. I just think the stuff with the barber and then the Nexus thing and the spider and like I was like having to like listen really intently as things were being explained because I'm just like I feel like I'm 5 steps behind. It was hard to keep up with. I think that's my main criticism of that episode, and I didn't really connect to it in the way I would have liked to. But apart from that, I enjoyed watching it. As for Interstellar Song Contest, that was really good. Except, I mean, they probably could have. I would have liked to have seen more songs, like if they'd leaned more into the the Eurovision of it all, and actually given us like a song montage, maybe like give us 2-3 minutes of Belinda and the Doctor just sitting there watching the contest take place, because it felt very abrupt. Everything just kind of immediately going down the toilet. But they had a larger story that they wanted to tell, and time was of the essence. So, yeah. And then, yeah, I don't know. There's things about the villains that just weren't 100% for me. But once that kind of thing started to get explained about, I have a whole thing prepared for how I want to talk about that stuff. But yeah, but apart from those critiques, I think overall there were 2 very solid episodes of Doctor Who and 2 very great performances of Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor. I think as well, because he didn't really cry for once, guys. He got angry. We got to see angry Ncuti Gatwa.
He angry cried.
He angry cried. It was great. So it was nice to see kind of more to him, and except Belinda might be scared of him now, so I don't know if that's a good thing. A good thing. Fulya, take us through your overall thoughts on the 2 episodes.
Yeah, the story in the engine episode was an interesting one. I was like you, Kendall. There were points where I was like, oh yeah, this is interesting. They have to tell stories in order to keep the thing going, like the engine running and all that sort of stuff, and while they're getting their haircut. But then it got to a point where I was just like, okay, is that the only thing in this particular story? Who was the lady that the doctor's trying to figure out, and she's just being so inconspicuous and not saying anything, and it like, and then you sort of get to a point where you find out what is happening. This barbershop is traveling through space and on the back of a giant mechanical spider, and I'm like, great. Kendall would have loved this one.
The
Oh,
best
boy.
Doctor Whoever
Yeah.
with the spiders.
Yeah, it was a little weird. But the one thing I will say, I loved the whole idea of the doctor mentions that he goes to Nigeria to meet with these people because he feels like he belongs for the first time since he regenerated into this specific body. And because of the fact that everywhere that he's gone, so like everywhere else that he's gone, he's been rejected from society and from communities, whereas this particular community has accepted him, and he loves that, and he wants that even more, and that's why he's gone back to that multiple times, like to that place, because of the people, because of the stories, and the fact that he feels like he belongs in that particular community.
Yeah.
Which was a really sort of nice story plot in a way. But
Yeah.
the things that happen in the barbershop, just it kind of it had me interested, and then I wasn't. So it kind of just sort of like a back and forth kind of a situation with me, that I had a hard time watching that one a little bit. The Interstellar Song Contest, however, like you, Kendall, I was expecting more song contest. This essentially starts off as a song contest, and they don't really go anywhere with it. And then all of a sudden, bam, they get attacked. And pop goes the roof. So this particular episode, as much as they try to make it about Eurovision, which, by the way, I love that they say that the Interstellar Song Contest was originated on Earth first.
Yeah.
And then it got to a point where they went from just being in Europe on Earth to being the whole galaxy, essentially, the whole universe.
It came from Eurovision. It started with Eurovision and then evolved into what we see in this episode. That was cool. I like
that.
Sort
of say, so you can sort of play the blame on Australia entering it. It's like, oh, Australia's not part of Europe. Everyone can join in, and then planets.
Should be the World Song Contest. How about that?
No. Still part of Europe.
But this episode just it kind of little bit disappointed me in a way, but it then redeemed itself for what the actual story plot of this was, in the sense that it was about a corporation that these particular I don't want to say people, but they come to invade the song contest because it's been sponsored by a corporation that ended up destroying their planet because of harvesting for like honey and whatever it is.
Poppy honey.
Poppy honey. And I can understand they're going into this with emotions of, revenge, essentially, of what has happened to their planet. But at the same time, it's like you get the Doctor's side of it all, because then he feels the same like emotion and the same he wants, and then like the fact that his planet has been destroyed as well, and so like we get to see more of his his thought process being brought to the surface a bit more. And because of what those what the Hellions, the Hellions, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because of what the Hellions are doing, it's making him upset. He's like, they have no right to do this to trillions of people. But and it just brings up a lot of emotions for him, and so we see a real dark side to him that we weren't really expecting.
Time Lord victorious.
Very Time Lord victorious. Yeah.
Yeah. So these episodes were good. They were kind of up and down for me in both respects. Yeah.
Okay, Mike. How is our resident Whovian feeling about these 2 episodes? I know some big lore things happened, which I'm dying to hear your thoughts on, but we'll talk about those separately. But overall, what did you make of these 2 episodes?
Big lordy law. The story and the engine was an interesting story. It's a story that Shudigatwa has been wanted to do, because he wanted a story set in Nigeria, where his family is originated from, and it's a good little story. The editing is a bit choppy, and the story was a bit incoherent, but overall it was actually nice to see a Doctor Who episode that's a little bit out of the ordinary, and just a little bit off center, and I kind of like those episodes where it's just a bit skew whiff, and if you like the premise, then that's cool. It's kind of like Space Babies in a way. I kind of like Space Babies, even though it's a bit it's not everyone's cup of tea.
And it might be coming back now.
Yeah. Big ball of snot.
Hopefully not.
I think it is.
I think it is too.
I think it is too. Yeah. Cameo in it, I like, but it's probably going to be more to do with that in future 2 episodes. And yeah, I kind of like the main the main protagonist, not necessarily the bad guy, but it's more to do with like the human stories and where they come from, and it's dealing with like mythology and all those different mythologies, and how they're actually part of the same mythos, which is an interesting take, and it has sort of been done before, where like different places around the world have pyramids, and it's not necessarily Egypt. There's also Aztec and all that. So there's got to be a source somewhere. Aliens, ancient aliens. There you go. so I kind of like that.
Yeah.
And I do I get a buzz every time they do stock footage of Classic Who as well, which is a bit of my bread and butter. It's like, yay. And Kendall, you get to see Peter Capaldi for the first time.
Yay!
In an episode that I really enjoyed.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a 2-parter. Ooh. Spoilers, sweetie.
Sweet.
Yeah, and it finished up quite nicely, and where it goes. Now, I like Story in the Engine a lot more than the next one. I don't really watch Eurovision because I've never been that exposed to it, and the only reference that I have is the Will Ferrell movie that was on Netflix of Eurovision. So that's where I'm going from, and I'm guessing that's probably a bit more Eurocentric than this episode. But I was intrigued because the premise was, what if Eurovision met Die Hard? So I was hoping for that. I was hoping for a Hans Gruber sort of villainous character, but we didn't get that. And the way that they set it up could have been good, but there was two elements that I liked what they were doing, but those two elements clashed together that I didn't like. And I thought it was a bit of a lost potential, and not to go into too politicky, but I did not like the politics in this and where it's set. So
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. Otherwise, because thinking about this, I've had a day to think about it, and I didn't like this episode. It's probably the first episode that I didn't like in this season, and out of the two, Shooting Gut was probably my least favorite of where it was. Yeah, and the cameos in it, cameo that was in it, I was surprised, and you saw my reaction.
Yeah, I figured that's what it was.
Yeah, so that picture was taken in the middle of the episode. My expression would be a lot different at the end of the episode. Yeah, so yeah, that's me.
Great. Yes. Story in the engine for a little bit then. Talking about the villain of the episode, the barber. I have really mixed feelings about him. I didn't love the character, but I also didn't hate the character. Like, the performance was great. The actor did a very good job. But it was interesting that he was, I don't know, trying to pretend to be a god for a bit. And I'm kind of glad they sort of bait and switched it and made it that he actually worked for the gods. He wasn't a god himself. But I found that interesting though, because he talks about all these gods that I'm this person in this mythology, and I'm this, and Loki got a mention, and I was like, yay. But and then after all that, when we find out, the doctor's like, you're not actually a god, you're just, you're just a guy. And then when we get to see the heart of the engine in question, and it's literally a tree. There's a brain going on, and there's a heart, and it looks like a tree. I don't know if you guys picked that up. Hopefully it's obvious. But I found that interesting, considering he's like, I'm not a god, but then, like, we spend a lot of time in our discussions about Loki talking about him being the god of stories, becoming the god of stories, and how he ends up in Yggdrasil, in the tree. And here we have a man who is not a god. He wants to bring down the gods, but he's using a godlike device to do so. I thought was kind of interesting, and kind of it connects in that sense of it being a tree, kind of connects and makes sense to the fact that the whole story element, I guess, of it as a way to fuel the ship. You need stories. So I found that really interesting. And I liked the idea of the stories being the whole thing, and because they don't really say it. They kind of mention that stories because he's a barber, and when you go to the barber or the hairdresser, you're swapping stories, right? Like I like that they didn't kind of say how on the nose it was, because that would have made it more on the nose. But I but I liked it, and I also loved the fact that the Doctor was terrified the second he sat down in that chair, because he was like, "Get me the fuck out of here!" Like immediately, he was like, "I'm done." So I liked that aspect of it, but by the time the episode was done, I was like, "Oh, okay." And then the fact that his assistant turned out to be someone of more interest to us, being the son of a god, sorry, the daughter of a god, pardon me, herself, and then connected to the fugitive Doctor, whom I don't know much about, but I did see some episodes with the fugitive Doctor towards the end of Jodie Whittaker's run, and it was to do with the timeless child and all that stuff. That I only have half of that storyline, so I don't know the whole thing. But it was cool to see the fugitive Doctor rock up as well. Yeah, interesting. I mean, it ties into the premise of the episode. It's a very interesting premise. So yeah, Fulya, what did you think of the villain, the antagonist of the story and the engine?
I don't know how I really felt about him. He was definitely giving off the villain vibes, but then he had this just revenge plot, and that was all it was. So he was a little bit one-dimensional in a way. And I don't know, like I wasn't really buying the fact that he really was that villainous. It was just more of the fact that things happened in his life and it was because of the gods. And so it's like, well, if that's the case, then the gods must go. So yeah. The thing that made him a little bit more intimidating is the fact that these people have come in to get their hair cut. Now they're stuck there, and so they have no choice in the matter. What was interesting was that the moment they had their haircuts, their hair would just grow back immediately.
Yeah, it was clever.
Yeah, so that was cool.
So you can continue the story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the other thing was the fact that they were always so anxious on whether or not they had told the story well enough that they would either get a green light or a red light. And if it was a green light, they could relax, So yeah, no, he was okay, but he didn't really do it for me, to be honest. So yeah, he wasn't as intimidating or as dramatic as some of the other villains we've come across so far. And mind you, a lot of the villains we have come across in Doctor Who, they're really big and they have enormous power, whereas this guy just has a trimmer, and that's his device to get stories out of people, to put that, and those stories are the energy that gets this machine to continue working.
He's got the tools and he's got the talent.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Thank you very much for your thoughts. Mike, how did the antagonist here work for you in this episode?
It's very interesting because throughout the series, the two series, really, we're dealing with gods and how the Doctor's up against gods, and this is a slightly different, where he's not necessarily a god; he's using the tools of a god. So it's kind of like that mythos of taking Zeus's thunderbolt sort of thing, and sort of like the Kratos. That's what I'm thinking. The Kratos sort of dynamic of using tools to take down gods, and what's more ancient stories than like all these mythos across the world and the ancient stuff. I kind of like it, but I think it could have been fleshed out more. And how he's more. Yeah, I don't know. It's sort of a mixed bag. I can't really explain it too much. But I did enjoy the fact that they did the cameo of the fugitive Doctor, and the reason why they can fit the fugitive Doctor in is because we don't know that part of the Doctor's history, because even the Doctor doesn't know, and so you can put in whatever. But having said that, because of next episode that we're going to be talking about, I've been having a look back at the Flux and how that sort of talks about the division, the sort of Gallifreyan sort of Secret Service sort of thing, and how the fugitive Doctor was part of that, and one of the missions could have been part of this story. So maybe further down the track, there's probably going to be a part 2 of the story, but with the fugitive Doctor. I don't know. It could be a Big Finish audio of doing that bet with the fugitive Doctor. Yeah, the sky's the limit because stories, and what's really great is because Doctor Who's been going on for so long, and there's all these different stories that have come out of Doctor Who within the mythos, not necessarily TV, but there's audio and all that. And I don't know anyone who's actually listened, heard, or read every single one. So it kind of makes sense that the Spider sort of sped up because well, so it's that story again of tricking the genie into drinking the ocean, and then the ocean made the genie explode. Yeah. So yeah, stories, proverbs, all that. So
yeah,
it definitely got me thinking in this one.
Yeah, cool.
The execution was a bit but you know, that's Doctor Who for you.
Yeah, that's very true. It can be hard to execute these very I don't know, complex, high concept sci-fi stories, I suppose.
Mind you, something so complex and to fit it all into one barbershop.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool that they're able to kind of just have one location for the whole episode, essentially.
Considering the next episode has been dubbed the most expensive Doctor Who episode ever.
Yeah, apparently.
Sometimes you need like a story that only takes place in one place. It's been a couple of them, like the pit, the well, and all that.
Yeah, that episode. I'm still thinking about that episode. It was great.
Something behind you.
What? Oh, you fucker! You got me for half a second. I'm like, what?
I knew what he was doing.
I say again, 3 hours sleep, if that.
Mm-hmm.
If that. The things I do for Eurovision. Yeah, I don't really have any other thoughts on the story and the engine. I think I've said everything I need to. Do you guys have anything else you want to touch on before we finish up with the Interstellar Song Contest?
Yeah, Captain Poppy was in this episode.
Yes, space babies. That elephant in the room. Oh boy. Yeah, that was weird, and yeah, it'll come back around at some point, I'm sure, but I'm really curious as to what it means. And I have no ideas. Fulya, Mike, do you guys have any ideas what the appearance of Captain Poppy in this episode means. It's a mystery.
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who. Good Doctor Who. Ah, fucking space babies. I'm just gonna let it happen. Gonna let it happen. All
Maybe
right.
it's
Well,
essential viewing.
oh no.
Ah.
It's like my least favorite episode of last season, I think. Oh, just did not like it. Anyway. Cool. Shall we move on to the song contest then and discuss a couple of things before we wrap up this epic episode of podcasting? Yes. All right. Cool. Mike, you said you didn't want to get political. I want to get political.
Mhm.
Only to say and to make a comparison to Eurovision, because as Fulya and I both well know, Eurovision can get quite political. We found out this morning, and almost combusted. So yeah, and Eurovision kind of has a weird relationship with politics in that sometimes it will actively involve itself and remove countries from competing because of certain world issues and political issues and all
World
of that.
events.
World events, right? But then they will also let countries still compete, even though they maybe shouldn't.
Is that real?
I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna put my 2 cents in on this because I don't want to. I want to discuss politics. Oh my god! But I don't want to discuss politics in that sense. But I only bring it up to say I found it really interesting that they kind of took that kind of political side of Eurovision to the nth degree here in this episode of television, and made the main sponsor of the contest the villain, right? By the end of it. We have this corporation who has effectively, in a Gorman-like fashion, wiped out or trying to wipe out this race of people, these Hellions, because A, they don't like them, and B, they've got what they need to sell their product, to make their product. And the fact that the song contest is, I think it's implied that they're aware that this is going on, and they're not doing anything about it, and then they're allowing the sponsorship to continue. Yeah, I found that really interesting that they decided to that was part of the main direction of the episode by the time we were done. Because I did, as much as like the Hellion villains, the couple, they were, interesting, but probably could have been fleshed out a little bit better, other than, I guess, the motivation was clear for what they were doing. It wasn't the right decision, obviously, but you can see why they're doing what they're doing. But then to have it, the twist of, I was more into the twist of, the lovely woman who's actually a Hellion. Her horns are gone, and she's hid them. I kind of twicked on that earlier. I'm like, I bet she's a Hellion. It was probably very obvious.
She's
but,
assimilated.
Yeah. So I kind of liked how they put her into the story instead of her just being a bystander of the events, and having it kind of come full circle in the end with her singing the song that's apparently been forbidden by the song contest to be sung. And then, and then we go into it and it's like, okay, the Hellions aren't the bad guys, right? It's the corporation. It's the contest itself that's at fault. And I was just like, wow, I guess if Eurovision was to run for 1,000 years, it would probably devolve into something like this, where it just politics is out the fucking window and they're in it for the money in the end, right? Like, I also love the quick side note of, oh yeah, there are no transmissions going in and out because that way people will be able to gamble, and we can't have that going on. We have to control the bedding as much as we can. So I just it was just really interesting how they took what they took from the like Eurovision and put it into this episode, and then like jacked it up to the nth degree and made it the most fucking political thing. I'm not mad about it. I mean, it probably could have been executed better, I will admit. I think that's a fair call to say it probably should have been done better. Make like Mikey said with the Eurovision meets Die Hard. Like when I heard that as a description, I was watching a YouTube video about the episode and they brought that up, and I was like, I didn't really get that vibe.
No, no at all.
But, no, that if they'd done that, that would have been awesome. And they really played it safe, I think, in certain areas. But in others, it was cool. And then, you know, when Cora, I remember the character's name, when Cora sings the song at the end, and it's, you know, it's lovely, and things are all happy, Larry, and laughing and sunshine at the end, sort of. Except the doctor's like, I'm still angry at you, and I'm gonna, you know, he basically Liam Neeson's on his ass. I'm like, I'm gonna find you and fuck you up one day because you've made me mad, and I'm mad forever now. Thank you. So that was interesting too. But yeah, so yeah, political. Fulya, as a fellow Eurovision enjoyer, how did you find this? Did you see what I saw? Read the same thing of like this political exaggeration being involved here in the episode?
I could see where they were going with that sort of stuff because, yes, there is a lot of politics involved in Eurovision, even if they don't mean it to, but that's what is happening because of the voting system and all that sort of stuff. And you can tell. So in this particular episode, when I was watching it, I could see that this was kind of like a message to Europe, essentially, that this is what will end up happening. Like, not to that extent in terms of sci-fi-ness, but more so like it'll like it might get to a point where the contest could be the center of attention for drama, essentially. And it could not bode well for everyone. And I kind of like that they're trying to get that message out in a sort of a family-friendly way, I suppose, since Doctor Who's supposed to be family-friendly. But the fact that we get all of this tension, this drama, this emotion, it was interesting. I didn't really pick up on too much of the specifics of the politics that were in this episode. I just got the sort of like the overall, yes, this corporation, this company that is sponsoring the song contest did something bad to another planet, and then the inhabitants of that planet who survived are the ones that are angry at them. And so they're, you know, the song contest by association is where they're taking their revenge. So yeah, it was an interesting episode. But yeah, there was a lot going on where, you know, we had the Doctor separated from Belinda. You know, neither of them know if they're alive or not after the roof pops. And we get to see how both of them sort of react in the situation in their own way. And the Hellions were an interesting part of that story, especially with Cora. The fact that she ended up like not getting sucked up into space. She managed to stay in the pod, just like Belinda managed to stay in the pod as well. I don't know if, because I know Belinda would have been more of a coincidence considering where she was standing in the pod, so that when the roof popped and the mavity of it all happened, she ended up just hitting the top of the pod, whereas I feel like Cora may have been specifically kept there because the Hellions know who she really is. So yeah, it was, like I didn't get the specifics that you did, Kendall, but I can see where you sort of kind of picked it up. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Totally fair.
Hmm.
Totally fair. All right, Mike, I know you said you didn't really want to talk politics. Feel free to keep it that way if you choose, but do you have any comments on the choices made here to do with the, the situation on the Hellion planet in the Eurovision of political thing going on?
Yeah. I'll keep it brief. As I said, I don't watch Eurovision, but I do know this sort of discourse that is going around. If you ban a country for invading another country, fair enough. But having said that, it's sort of hypocrisy when one country is doing something that has been deemed by other organizations as a genocide. That is somehow okay, and I can sort of get why people are protesting the actual concept for doing that. And yes, I'm on the side of the protest. And having said that, it's sort of on the nose of them doing this particular thing, because I kind of get why they want to do Eurovision, because it's sort of set. Because it was on the same day, and it's an interesting take. But having said that, they also said it was going to be Die Hard. This isn't Die Hard, like at all.
No.
Like Hans Gruber, understandably, is he wants riches, he wants fame, he wants to enrich himself. But this is not it. This is the Helliers are a prosecuted agitator, could be terrorist or freedom fighter. It's that age old question, which is it? And being the bad guy, does work if they didn't do Time Lord Victorious. But I do like the idea of shooting up with Doctor actually having more emotion than, oh, I'm going to cry now. But we sort of see that with the previous episode, and he's getting really more angry in this one.
Yeah.
I like that aspect if we had a Hans Gruber. We didn't. And this is the sort of thing I was talking about, the sort of clash. And because I didn't know what they wanted to do with the bad guy, if they wanted to be like a sympathetic character, because they are part of a misplaced sort of a people, and also a people that has been vilified as well, of having horns on your head, and it all harkens back to what the Palestinians are. Yeah, it's like there's rampant anti-Semitic tendencies everywhere. I get that, but there's also Islamophobia as well, and only one of them is unacceptable, and one of them can be passed as, oh, it's just a joke. I mean, I've recently watched an episode of Have I Got News for You, and there was a lot of racist jokes in that towards Arab people, and surely one is wrong, and also the other thing is wrong. And I think the politics in this is absolutely terrible. It's neoliberalism of saying, yeah, sure, having sort of this is the status quo and we're going to keep it. It's like this, no, if it's wrong, you got to change it, and I was hoping the Doctor actually would be like on the side of the Helliers, but not being absolutely horrible to these people, like justifiable. They are trying to kill a lot of people, but at the end you realize the Doctor actually has a failsafe, and no one dies in this. And that's the sort of thing that I can't get my head around. Of why are you doing this episode? It's just tone deaf, and I did not like it at all. And I've been trying to find like some discourse online and saying, what do you think about it? And all my like people that actually watch, who are they have the same sort of political standings that I have, but a lot of people are saying I don't like this at all. And I've actually seen a video of a guy saying I'm done. I like Doctor Who, like I've been watching it forever, and this and I'm done with this. It's like I do not like where this is going, and people are and that person is saying I don't like Russell T Davies, like his writing, and I'm worried of what's going to happen at the end of the season. But yeah, I will be watching because it's Doctor Who. It's my failsafe. It's my guilty pleasure. It's my everything. And it just left a bad taste in my mouth. It's like yeah, I don't want to talk politics at all. Sorry. And now I know what a fucking Marvel fan feels like. Trying to justify your existence. Maybe Doctor Who does need the hiatus that it needs. That's going down, because we don't know if there's going to be a third season or not. Apparently Russell T Davies has been writing the scripts for it, but nothing is set in stone. So I don't know. And and yeah, I know sort of like the discourse of what happened to Eurovision this year. Second place, really? Fucking hell. Okay. I've had enough. Let's talk about the cameo and the big reveal at the end, please.
Yes, let's do that. Let's do that. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, a couple of big lore things that I hinted at in this episode that happened. The first of which being the appearance that has been, I think, long sort of speculated was going to happen, was kind of in the works, of the Doctor's granddaughter, Susan. And she kind of appears within the TARDIS to him while he's floating in space, and sort of like a Deus Ex Machina situation of, like, you know, she snaps him out of the ice as he's freezing in cold space, and that way he's able to you know, use confetti to get back to the arena, to get in and save the day and everything. And I know you mentioned it briefly, Mike, but I will say it was rather convenient that he had a failsafe of, oh, don't worry, I you know, when I went down there and I did that little thing with my screwdriver and that was me preparing for the worst. I'm like, okay.
Then why are you fucking angry?
Yeah, there are no stakes. There are no stakes. Yeah, I will agree with you. I didn't like that. Yeah, especially because like I was.
Why did you proceed to shock him and just constantly? Damn it! Never mind. I'm gonna put myself on mute.
No, you're fine. Susan, we're talking about Susan. Yes, really cool to see her. And to see the actress. Is this the first time the actress has returned, that Susan has returned since the 60s?
No. Well, I will talk about this episode again, but she does turn up in a 30th anniversary episode that was like for a Children in Need charity.
Cool.
It's called Dimensions in Time. It's synonymous as being a piece of crap, but it's what we had in 1993, and Doctor Who wasn't on, so it was just it was an oasis in the middle of the desert sort of thing when it comes to Doctor Who, because the next thing was Paul McGann's adventure in the Doctor Who movie. That was a backdoor pilot for an American version, but that didn't get picked up by Fox. So there you go.
Yeah. There you go, indeed. Yes, so really cool to see Susan. I know nothing about her, so I hope this wasn't a one and done sort of situation, and her appearance means something. I'd like to think that if they're gonna drop a fucking space baby for 2 seconds, that bringing back the Doctor's granddaughter would mean something more than just this episode. But we'll see what happens. And then I'll just quickly give my thoughts on the other reveal, and then I'll pass to Fulya. We finally got an answer about Mrs. Flood. And I was flabbergasted and shocked and delighted and excited, and I have no idea what the Rani is, but I know it's come up in Doctor Who before because I remember seeing a title of a DVD at work that had the Rani in it. So that's the only way I know that the Rani is from Classic Who.
Is either Mark of Irani or Time of Irani.
Yeah, Time of the Rani. That's the one I remember. So I have no idea what the Rani is, but hello Archie Punjabi, such a talented actress. I'm so glad to see her here in this and to be playing a Doctor Who villain. Yes, let's go. And putting Mrs. Flood in her place like immediately was just stellar to see. Interstellar, some might say. Yeah, but it was cool. It was an interesting reveal, and apparently they're Time Lords, and I don't know. I mean, the Doctor keeps saying he's the last Time Lord, and then we have the fucking Master, and now we have whatever the Rani are, and they're bi-generating.
Time ladies.
And
yeah.
Time ladies. Yeah, there's this whole. I have a lot of Doctor Who to learn. I think. But I'm excited to see where this is going now. Now that we have a reveal of what Mrs. Flood is, not entirely what she's up to, but what she is and who she's been this entire time. And now we have our villain, our antagonist for season 2 or season 15, whichever you prefer. Yeah, I loved it, and the fact, and I like that we got a post-credit scene or a mid-credit scene, if you will, instead of a trailer for next week, because I'm okay not seeing a trailer for next week because we've only got 2 episodes left of Doctor Who for this year. So exciting. Exciting stuff. I'm going to throw to Fulya and then throw to Mike, because Mike is going to explain things. So Fulya, before Mike tells us all about the Doctor Who nerdy lore, wibbly wobbly timey wiminess, what did you think of these cameos, these reveals? The plot is thickening. What do you reckon?
Yeah, this was interesting. So I think out of the 2, the Mrs. Flood thing was the one that stuck out the most for me. And I was very surprised to find out what she was. And the fact that she ended up, what do they call it? Bi-generate? Is it a bi-generation?
Yeah, bi-generate.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, so that means the Doctor's technically not the last of his kind?
I know, that's what I mean.
As the story shows us here. So that kind of was definitely a big surprise. The other thing that I also kind of want to mention is that when they found out that all hell's going to break loose on Earth, they gave the date, the 24th of May. That is literally the next episode's date for us.
It's like they
Oh
planned
my
it.
God.
I know, right? I'm like, oh, okay. I like what they've done here. They've literally given us the date that they're going to explain everything to us in the episode. It's coming. It's next week. And now I'm excited. So, yeah. That's pretty much all I've got to say for the rest
Yeah.
of the episode. Yeah.
You and I are in the same boat, I think.
Mm.
Yes. All right, Mike, tell us all. What were your thoughts on the appearance of Susan and the Rani?
I was shocked with Susan. I wasn't
Yeah.
that shocked with Arani because that's been kicking around the idea for a while. With Susan, I needed to rewind because I thought I was seeing things. Because people have been wanting Susan Foreman to come back, Caroline Ford, give her flowers, to come back and interact, but it would have been difficult because to explain who she is, what she is, like it isn't stated that she is a time lady or human. We still don't know. And I am worried that I am sort of worried that Russell T is going to explain Susan for us, because I don't know. I don't want it set in stone. I don't know. It could be something to do with space babies, but it's also something to do with the Rani, which I'll talk about later. The last Susan was only traveling with the First Doctor up until the Daleks' invasion of Earth, where she decided to stay because the love of a boy. 1960s writing. Yeah, what?
Has not aged well.
Yeah, well, apparently she was 16, so
Yeah.
canonical years. Yeah, so lovesick. And yeah, the Doctor left. Just left her to defend for herself after a post-apocalyptic world that's been devastated by the Daleks. So that's going to be interesting if they're going to go from there. Otherwise, she only turned up twice. She turned up in the 20th anniversary where she was scooped up and put on Gallifrey for the Five Doctors, and then for Dimensions in Time, where she only had a brief scene because she was confused and didn't know where she was. So I don't know. She also is in Big Finish as well. I think I'm not quite sure, but I think she's got something to do with the Time War as well. She, like they had to recruit all time people to actually help fight in the Time War, and she was scooped up to fight. So what happens with her, I do not know. So I don't know what's going to happen, or maybe it's just a figment of the Doctor's imagination and it's his memory, and probably set in that. It's kind of like what Billy Piper was in Day of the Doctor. Just the idea of the Doctor's granddaughter. I'm hoping it's that, because then it can be more ambivalent than that. Arani. Now, I didn't want her to be Arani. I wanted her to be something else because, Time Lords as well, of how, why am I blurry? Being the last Time Lord and all that. But Arani has only been in 2 episodes of Doctor Who, of the classic series, as well as Dimensions in Time. She turns up in Dimensions in Time. So, essentially, she's kind of like the Master, but she is more of a scientist. Yeah. She strives to learn more. So, what she's doing here, I do not know. Maybe it's an experiment of doing something. Maybe she's trying to bring back the Time Lords. I don't know. Maybe she's making more Time Lords. That's another theory that people are doing, and the only Time Lord that she knows is the Doctor. So, and if Russell T Davies is going to introduce Gallifreyan looms, is that how you make Time Lords within the extended canon of Doctor Who, which is weird, because essentially Ace was going to be a Time Lord if Doctor Who was going to continue, and I'm glad they stopped that, because maybe, I don't know, it's sort of the thing that Russell T is probably going to do, because he does put Richard E. Grant as the 9th Doctor in that episode of Rogue, and people who know the lore, yeah, it's gonna be something like that. I don't know. That's why I'm really concerned about these last 2 episodes of what Russell T is going to do. I'm nervous. I'm just nervous because new people don't fucking know that shit, and it's very like standoffish to say, "Oh, I know all this lore." It's like, well, it's new people watching and all that. Yeah, so Arani and doing the bi generational thing is weird. I do have a theory that it's all to do with Mavity and how this is going to reset the universe, and then and then all this weird stuff like the gods and that are just going to be reset, and then we're going to get gravity again, and this is the real era. And then I don't know, maybe the Doctor will meet up with David Tennant's 14th Doctor, and they re-emerge, and it's the real Doctor and generate. I don't know. It's going to be weird. It's going to be.
Yeah.
Doctor Who is annoying me. It annoyed me in the last episode of the previous series, and then it's becoming annoying. I mean, riveted television. I'm really enjoying the fact that you guys are enjoying it and what's happening with it. I don't know. I think my lore is getting in the way of me enjoying it, and maybe I need to be ignorant sometimes. Anyway. Can't wait.
Well,
Can't wait for the end of the world.
Yeah. I hope the last 2 episodes redeem itself for you.
Apparently
somehow.
Chad's coming back. Chad?
What?
What's his name? Comrade. That's it.
Oh, the douche canoe.
Yeah, the douche canoe. He's coming back.
Interesting.
Yeah. Apparently a load of people are coming back. I think this is probably going to be a multi-Doctor story. I don't know. It's going to be a weird mishmash. I think it's just stories colliding. And I will say Mel is going to be back, which is kind of fun, because Mel has actually met Arani. So that's going to be interesting if they do. I know you. You were stealing all the smart people around the world to get an asteroid out of the sky. Yeah, they're not the best episodes. No one is really clamoring for Arani to come back, because there's never been a really good outing. So if Russell T Davies redeems Dimensions in Time, that will be. I would have to give it up for him, because that is a terrible thing. It just didn't make sense, and also the motivations for Arani in that is just weird and stupid and nonsensical, kind of like Doctor Who in itself. But there you go. Okay, get me to stop talking. I'm going to mute myself.
Okay, all right. I just have two quick things I want to mention, and then we will absolutely finish. One, I love the visuals in this episode. You can see where they put the money that they obviously spent, as we've been told. Especially the shots of when the crowd went into space and the way they were sucked up, and then like that, there was like this really cool wide shot of the arena and like gorgeous coloring and silhouette of all the people, and it was very chilling, but it was very beautiful. So hats off to the cinematographers and the visual effects teams for putting that together. And then I just wanted to shout out Graham Norton for his cameo in this episode. It wouldn't be a Eurovision, a British Eurovision episode of anything without Graham Norton. Yeah, and he did a really good job delivering the dialogue about Earth not existing. Like, I was like, oh, Graham's got some acting chops. I was very impressed.
Well,
So,
he is in Father Ted.
oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't ever seen Father Ted, so I guess Graham Norton can act, and has been acting for many years, and I've just never known. And today I learned. Yes, that's it for me. I'm gonna pass out now. Fulya, your final thoughts before we wrap up?
It was good. I just went now. I'm just excited for the next episode because I want to know what happened on Earth on the
Please give me
24th of
your
May,
excitement.
2025. I throw it at you.
I'm so fucking worried.
Yeah. Well, Mike, I take it you're done. I don't. But do you have anything else you wanted to mention before we finish?
Nah, that's a spoiler. It is a shame that you haven't seen Peter Capaldi's Doctor, because we could have been talking about Missy as well, and how that sort of is not really a connection to Irani, but people thought she was Irani. But I won't tell you who Missy is.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
there is talk that she might be coming back in the last 2 episodes too.
Well.
So you're gonna have a crash course on who Missy is.
Yep.
Okay. Spoilers, sweetie. I've had a long time to watch this show, so it's on me if if I don't get the best experience because I didn't watch it when it came out. All right. Let's end this epic,
Let's do
for all
it.
time podcast. Thank you both for your time. Fulya and I are both running on fumes, but we made it.
Yeah.
We did.
By gods, we
is the
made
end.
it.
And I need to get kids to bed.
And Mike's got to do dad things.
Yeah.
I
so
gotta do eating things.
And I got to do eating things and driving things, and oh my god! All right, a 1, a 2, a 3,
And that
was a podcast.
called
Fred.
Fred.
Remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky for the latest Fred content.
If you'd like to listen to Fred the Alien, you can find us on SoundCloud, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts.
If you'd like to watch Fred the Alien, you can head over to youtube.com/Fred the Alien Productions. And if you're watching us right now, make sure to hit the like button, the subscribe, the bell icon to be notified of future content. Damn, English not great today. If you're watching us live over on Twitch, make sure to give us a follow on the way out. Twitch.tv/Fred the Alien Twitch.
I've been a Kendall Richardson.
I've been a very tired Fulya, can't tell much.
And I've been a very hungry Michael Lister.
Yes, and
you've just experienced a podcast called Fred Transitioned.
Remember to eat beef.
Remember, Freddy lives, Loki dies, the Doctor is in, and from river to the sea. ... Anyway.
Ah.
Yes, remember to look after yourself and your mental health, everyone, and get some sleep.
Get some
Yes.
sleep. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, laters, gators, and
And scene.